Hey everybody. Thank you for finding us here at Press A to Talk. This is our show Backlog Crew, which is like a book club for video games. My name is Kurt, and I'm here with John
Nope.
and with Ryder. Today we're going to be talking about kind of the final act of Metal Gear Solid 2, a game that collectively we have never played before. Yes? And I'm sure that this will be a very straightforward, simple, brief discussion where the plot is incredibly clear.
For sure, yeah. It can't get confusing. We're at the end of the game.
Before we jump just right into it, what did y'all have a good time with this last chunk? Did you feel like it you know, kept on track to the end, or did you lose some steam before you finished?
I'll say that I think the boss fights were easier for me in this part than prior. Um, and the sections I thought were more straightforward when it came to navigating where to go.
Yeah, definitely more linear. I would agree with
Right.
that. Ryder,
So,
what about you?
yeah.
I went between pure cinema to I hate this. Um, the pendulum swung back and forth. I'm exaggerating a little bit on the hate. There are very few times where I was like, I don't like this. And it was actually probably just the boss fights that I felt that about.
Huh.
I enjoyed, uh, actually enjoyed how linear this portion was because it
Mhm.
was a break mentally for me to just kind of keep progressing through way more cutscenes too, which I thought was kind of fun um, at first. But I will say that the last hour or so, and we can get into like the nitty
Yeah.
gritty, but the hour or so, there was just so much of it was just filled with cutscenes. I mean, probably the last hour you could boil down like 50 minutes of that hour to just cutscenes and like dialogue
Mhm.
segments through like your like nanomachines communicator. So I liked it, but it was a lot. It was a lot for 5 hours.
I agree. It kind of felt like a roller coaster where sometimes I was like doing the loopy loops. I was going up the hill, going down, having a great time, and then it was like, and now there's no tracks. We're just going to jump for a little bit, and then I'm like, oh gosh, what's happening? And then we land, and I ride the roller coaster a little bit, and it's kind of fun.
Just Donkey Kong
I'm
Country.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get into sort of the craziness of it, but let's start where we left off. Um, we've just met Solidus and fought him and Vamp in the Harrier.
Hmm.
The bridge is now destroyed. They have run off somewhere. Snake and Otacon are off trying to fix the helicopter so they can rescue the
Hostages.
hostages, is the word. Thank you. I'm doing a great job so far. And then we're back to gameplay. I had not played this game again in several months just because life got in the way. And so trying to cross the bridge from Shell 1 to Shell 2 as it was half destroyed and just trying to remember all those controls,
That's
that it took me a long time to get across that bridge.
That's probably what helped me was the fact that I didn't finish it until our last recording, and so
Mm-hmm.
I was just able to pick it right back up. I remembered all the controls. I guess that was one thing of me procrastinating was that I remembered all the controls for this last section.
I feel like I spent the entire 5 hours or so I played this, 6 hours or so, the back half of the game trying to remember controls. Like
Mm-hmm.
and was continually just floundering through. But no, I died like 3 times just trying to I was fine dropping on like the little pipeline, but as soon as you hit the pipeline trying to cross from shell 1 to shell 2, there's like if you backtrack just a little bit, there's like a ration
Mm-hmm.
or some
Mm-hmm.
ammo or something like that. So I'd go and get that, and then 3 times in a row, whenever I turned back, the angle was like this,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to run across that while your camera angle is like kind of back here, this weird angle. 3 times as I was trying to go around, I just into the water. After the third time, I was like, okay, I know how I'm going to fix this. And so I just
Crawl. Yep.
belly
Yep.
crawled
I
like
think I
all
did
the way
that too.
across.
I fell to the bird poop once in that area. Um, you guys,
Fell
neither
to the
one know what I'm
president?
talking about. So
That's what was like causing you to slick.
if you walk across it fast, there is bird poop on it, and you slip and fall off. I died to that once, and then to punish Raiden for that, when I did it again, I made him crawl through it. So, because it,
I did not
yeah.
know that. But you know, this is not the only time that we're going to be moving through excrement and bodily waste, because like 5 seconds later, we're walking onto Shell 2, and then a guard who's like on the top floor is like, I gotta go, man. Gotta do it. And so he
Oh.
starts taking a leak off the top floor, and he's like landing right in the path you had to walk through. And I was like, well, I'll just wait for him to finish. He does not finish. I was there for like 2 minutes, and it's just a steady stream the whole time.
That's funny. I did not get that. Huh.
You didn't get that?
Mm-mm.
I got that too.
Okay.
So
I
I
just
actually
Yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I just stood there and I was just looking at it like, why is this in this game? Like, what? Why did Kojima decide to put this in the game? Because this isn't like someone went rogue and was like, this will be funny. It was like he clears all the things that happen in these games.
I loved it for how like maybe there is something you can do with it, but I loved it because I thought that there was going to be some greater purpose, and then it was like, no, the guy's just peeing.
It wasn't.
And I actually walked past it before he started peeing, so I was like on the other side of him.
Oh.
But I was like, hmm. And so I went back and I just stood under his pee and let him give me a golden shower, and it rumbles your controller while it happens. And I just stood there letting it go until eventually he stopped peeing. So maybe that's the only way you can get him to stop, is let him go on you. I don't know. But I was like, maybe this will be relevant. There's some like biometric scanner
Yeah.
that based on DNA. Like this is the type of Kojima weirdness that like there's that type of stuff that is there. I'm not saying this is one of those moments, but he puts weird stuff like this in the game that allows you to kind of mess with it. Nah, I think he was just peeing on you. And that was it.
So since you made it past it before we started and John didn't encounter it at all, I guess that means I was just the slowest to get up there. And it just starts after a certain amount of time.
Maybe so.
That was wild. And you know what? Not the only time that they're going to deliberately show someone urinating. So we have that to look forward to later. Just again, I was just kind of getting used to the controls during this section. You have to flip over rails to crawl along unseen. You got to do some sneaking, knock out some guards, use the chaff grenade to take out some drones, and then there's giant gaps in kind of the semi-destroyed shell. I still think it's hilarious that you just cartwheel everywhere as your like mode of jumping over gaps.
It was pretty awesome. I saw it and was running across, and I actually had just triggered an alarm.
Mm-hmm.
I know the exact section you're talking about because there's two huge gaps like in the walkway, and I saw how wide of a gap it was and thought, this is probably not going to work. But either I die and it resets, or I make it across, and I don't know. It had like a small endorphin rush when I cartwheeled over and I saw my feet land, and I got to do it again. It was a little ridiculous at the beginning, like the cartwheeling, but at this point in the game, this is my preferred method of travel. Like if I'm not walking, I'm cartwheeling everywhere.
I really like it. Anytime the like alert happens and people are chasing me, I'm just like cartwheel, 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 cartwheel.
Yeah.
Can't hit what you can't see. All right, so we make it into Strut L on Shell 2. Is the cutscene where Olga is guarding the president. Okay, this is our current objective. We're here to rescue the president. Olga is guarding her. She's on the phone with who we now know to be Solidus. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, everybody's with me? Okay, just making sure. Or it might have been Ocelot, but it was one of those two. And she demands that her men be freed once this is over. So again, she's using her troops to help this mission. We don't know why yet. We'll find that out later. In this section, the floors to the president have been electrified, and we have to find a remote control missile launcher to launch it through the ventilation system to blow up the supply source
Where have
or
I
the
done
power
this
source for these
before?
floors. Do what?
Where have I done this before?
It's a staple.
Yeah. And one thing I was gonna say is, did you guys intentionally go walk on the electricity to see what would happen?
I did it accidentally
Oh,
at
Yeah.
okay.
one point.
So you got the extended like 10 seconds of him getting electrocuted. Yeah, for
Yeah,
a
But then not
solid 10
dying.
seconds, and then he falls into the floor.
it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It was good. I kind of assumed it would be an instant death, but I
Yeah, I
guess I
did
wasn't
too.
upset that it wasn't. Um, so to find the Nikita, which is
Mhm.
the missile launcher, you have to actually go into the basement of Strut L, which is flooded, and you have to swim around. The swim controls in this game are not inverted, and I had a lot of difficulty for that. Every game that I played since Super Mario 64 has had inverted swim controls, so I was constantly moving the wrong direction.
I didn't mind
I
it.
was too.
I liked it.
You liked it?
I'm not an inverted controls guy though. I don't like inverted controls.
I'm not until I'm doing either like a game with airplanes or swimming. That's
Yeah.
like the two time when like your space becomes three-dimensional in that way. Or you have like an X, Y, and a Z axis. I feel like at that point I need to have inverted controls, and I think it's just because it's more of a standard normally.
Yeah, I don't know
But
if it's because like the earliest games were set up that way with swimming and piloting games, but I feel the same way about those. Um, the discourse that I've heard about Metal Gear Solid 2 is that a lot of people are annoyed by this water section. I kind of fumbled with the controls, but I didn't think it was this part or the next part that came later was really
No,
that bad.
I thought it was
I
pretty easy, honestly.
I think that so I I listened to it. I didn't watch it, but I did listen to a video. This guy who was playing through the entire series on hardest difficulty, trying to get the big boss like title for least amount of kills, etc., least amount of alerts, least amount of deaths, and super difficult. But he said this was the hardest section of like the entire series was the swimming and then the section that follows afterward. And it makes sense that like on higher difficulties you're probably going to have like a smaller oxygen bar, and if
Mm-hmm.
you're going for like any sort of achievement status, every single death reset is going to like put you behind on the entire game. So I do think that I played on normal, so I didn't really have too
Yeah.
much
They
difficulty.
probably have more
Yeah.
mines too for higher difficulty as well, if I had to guess.
Hmm.
Which
I
they
did have
never
a hard time
respawn.
dodging those.
They never respawn, so once you took them out, you were good.
So if you swim to them in the first section, it makes the second part easier.
That's
Exactly.
probably why mine was so easy, because they never respawned. I had them all the first time. I will say, we're tasked with getting the Nikita in this section. I didn't realize I picked it up, so I was very happy that I got the call that was like, "Hey, you picked this up," because I was like, what do you mean I picked it up?" I was like, "Okay, well," but I kept exploring the area anyway because I really didn't think I got it, and I thought it. Apparently, I did. I just didn't notice because I checked my item, my weapons, and it was in the list, so I just didn't notice.
Yeah.
Some of the water and some of the sections in Shell 2 for me were I just feel like darker, and it's probably intentional that like maybe the lights are going out type of thing, because of the damage from the destruction. But I did actually have some trouble seeing some of like the items floating on the floor, so I think it's pretty easy to miss some of these.
We get the Nikita, we go back up, we find the vent to shoot it through, and then we blast President Johnson with it.
So
That's what I did, at least. Is that what you guys did?
mine, I wasted a few trying to, try to figure out the controls. But once I had the controls
For sure.
down, I actually ended up finding the room rather quickly. I was like, oh, well, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. And then he's in the front corner, out of the way, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I can just fly the missile over there. And while I'm doing that, he goes, what was that? And then runs at it from behind. I already passed him, and he runs into it. And then the
Yeah,
second time, he runs in front of me before the missile goes through and gets out of the way. But he was actually closer to the box on the wall, I would say, that second time than when he died the first time. So I don't know how he didn't blow up the second time. I guess because I hit the box, technically. But he was definitely in the blast zone for sure.
First time that I made it through the vents, it's going, and then like the second it leaves the exit of the vents, it just says, "What was the pump?" And he just like ran directly into it. So I don't know what the AI for that was thinking, but it was very humorous.
I think that it took me like nearly 15 times shooting the rocket to actually get it through the vent, but I didn't hit him once it went through. He did run, and did he trip in front of you like and fall?
Nope.
I think it's like randomized what he's going to do then, but he ran, and I was like going around him, and he tripped and fell, and like at like the angle at which I was going, and then started to stand up directly in front of me. So I had to guide it around. I didn't hit him, but I probably would have thrown my controller at that point, because by the time I finally made it through the vent, I'd gotten so annoyed with myself because I played on the Xbox 360. I mentioned this before. I don't know. I'm sure the controls are largely the same, but the D-pad that I was using to control it with has a very like nice click on the on the Xbox One controller, and it's just I don't know. I didn't feel like I ever had like a true like like levels of pressure. It was either like on or off. Is how kind of how I felt when I was clicking it.
I didn't use
If
the
that makes any
D-pad.
sense.
I used the
Analog stick.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I tried that, and it felt too loose for me. It was like a neither one felt right to me. Like doing the analog stick felt too loose, and the D-pad felt too firm. But I ended up doing it with the D-pad though.
Was that
You can
just
play
for
the
the?
whole game with the D-pad actually.
Yeah, I was wondering, did you do that?
No, I
Okay.
played everything with the analog stick except for that, because I was like, this is just left and right. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna like
Tap tap.
go left and right. Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, so we kill the president. Game over. They're like, "What have you done?" And then you retry again. You don't kill the president. And then President James Johnson just spills the tea. So
All of it.
interject at any point. I have like a full page of bullet points.
You go ahead. I'll take a nap.
Uh, so he reveals to Raiden that the United States is run by a shadow government called the Patriots, and that all the elected officials are just figureheads. Solidus Snake, who is George Sears, was the previous president. He was put in charge of the Metal Gear operations by the Patriots, but then the whole snafu with the first game happens, and he was they were upset with him, and so they tried to kill him. Solidus goes underground with Ocelot before the Patriots can kill him, and here he's hatching kind of his revenge. Solidus gains control of Dead Cell and Gurlukovich's men, and are trying to use the power of the stolen Metal Gear Ray, or trying to use that power to steal the Metal Gear Ray, which was originally intended to be an anti-Metal Gear machine.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Marines have at the beginning of the game, it's meant to be a defensive weapon rather than an offensive weapon. The Big Shell was a front for a new Metal Gear that is being built below the surface called Arsenal Gear. So this one's not a robot; it's just a giant submarine headquarters, basically, not a big robot. And then the Metal Gear Rays are there to guard the arsenal. I'm just gonna call it Arsenal from
Yeah, I
now
just
on.
remember that they're using Metal Gears to guard a Metal Gear that's used to destroy Metal Gears, or something like that. I just remember them repeating
That's the
it.
gist of it.
Just say Metal Gear as many times as possible in the same sentence, and you just about got it. There's also apparently just hundreds of warheads on the arsenal, like nuclear and otherwise. Solidus and his group infiltrated the Big Shell to disrupt the Patriots' power. He plans to detonate a nuke over Wall Street, which will mess up the electronic trading and take away their financial power. This is what's called Outer Heaven. So the 4 times we've heard characters say we're so close to Outer Heaven, that's what they're talking about. President Johnson wanted to be more powerful. He wanted to be equal to the Patriots, so he sided with Solidus to try to kind of play them and take that power. Johnson changed his mind because he realized that if the Patriots are taken down, it'll leave a power vacuum and things might actually end up worse than they are now. So Johnson asks Raiden to go find Emma Emmerich, who is a programmer for Arsenal Gear. and to get her to stop the implementation for GW, which is a computer program that will give the Patriots basically full digital censorship of whatever they want so they can control the flow of information. And then he's like, also kill me. And Ryan's like, I can't do that. So Oslet says, I can. And then shoots him and then just leaves and doesn't really interact with Ryan at all. So that's a lot of lore. And believe it or not, one of the smaller lore drops that we get in this entire section.
Yeah.
And
go ahead if you're talking about lore.
No, you go ahead. No, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, fun fact: if you try to drag the president out of the room and carry him with you like a little prize, it stops you at the door. It won't let you take him out of the room. It makes you drop him to go through the doorway, even if the door's already open. Not that
They had to program that to stop sick people like you from desecrating the president's body.
It's the nano machines.
Carrying it around. I was gonna see how far I could take it. Thought it would be funny.
So relevant to him being killed. So at the beginning of this, when you come in, this is something I thought was interesting, is that the president just immediately assumes you're there to kill him and tells you to just go ahead and do it, get it over with. Which Raiden is like, no, man, I'm here to save you. And President Johnson's like, yeah, I don't know about that. And I don't know, we talked about it in the last discussion. Everybody else seems to have a better idea of who Raiden is and what he's doing than he does himself. And even then, that's maybe not completely true, because I think a lot of people assume he's here for one purpose or the other. But I guess the continual theme here is Raiden has no clue what the mission is, what his intentions are, who he is, even sometimes is murky. But I thought that was very interesting that, the president himself sees Raiden and doesn't recognize him as like a agent of his own government.
Were you guys surprised at all with any of the revelations here about the Patriots? Like, how did those reveals make you feel?
I was like, this is so realistic, it could be true.
Yeah, I think that one thing we'll talk about later, but we talked about in the last video, I mentioned that, this game has had been subject to revisionist history, and that when it first came out, people were like, this sucks, I want to be Solid Snake. And within the last few years, this game has now seen a upsurge in people being like, actually, might have been onto something. And we're getting into the part of the game where we're like, actually, might have been onto something.
I might be jumping ahead, but some of the topics, that come up are like Y2K and AI and nanotechnology, and I'm just like, when was this game made again? It's early 2000?
Yeah. Okay. Using altering information to make people believe different things and change who people are fundamentally. Yeah.
Keeping the populace satisfied with fake information so that, I was like, interesting.
There's a lot of crazy stuff. Yeah, exactly. It's not relevant at all. It's all sci-fi.
This is Kojima anyway.
My favorite line, maybe in the entire game, but definitely my favorite up to this point is, president's talking about all these things and, dissemination of information being completely controlled by the Patriots, and, he himself being a figurehead and not being completely sure of what's true and what's not. And all this leads up to this one quote that he said was, without free will, there is no difference between submission and rebellion. And I thought that was awesome because, if you're working under the assumption that free will exists, then you seeing somebody submit to an oppressive class or something like that, you can look and be like, oh, you're a sheep, while I am the rebellious freethinker who shall free you. But that's, again, assuming that free will exists. If we've hit the point to where every part of your day-to-day is been decided. This is a very deterministic view in philosophy, but if everything is already decided, you rebelling is you just falling in line with the plan that's already been set. And
Right.
I, which is, it's very nihilistic, but that's kind of why the president's like, just go ahead and kill me. I've realized that I rebelled and there is no need in doing it because ultimately the Patriots had already accounted for this. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The game kind of continues down this like crazier rabbit hole the last few hours, but really good, really good.
I agree. Gives you a lot to think about at the end of it. Almost, honestly, too much to think about.
Yeah.
I would love to I don't know. I feel like you could make a whole series of essays about the points that this game is trying to make up. Um. So at this point, we are under the impression that Solidus, Ocelot, Dead Cell, and the President were all working together against the Patriots. So that's where we are as far as who's on what side. Raiden was sent in by Foxhound to save the president, although literally no one seems to know who Raiden is or why he's there. We continue on. We get a call from the Colonel and Rose, basically just saying, we have no idea what he's talking about. We never heard any of that in our lives. We're just in the dark as you are. And Raiden says, I don't believe you. And then they say, too bad. Go get Emma. And Raiden says, yes, sir. And goes and gets Emma.
Follow his last
There's
wish.
no time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get Raiden's position, but this is, again, like the umpteenth time that he's like, none of this makes sense. Give me answers. There's no time. Okay, fine. And then he just moves on. But, like, I do get it to an extent. It's a storytelling device. They just use it a lot.
I think jumping ahead like a little bit,
Sure.
I guess continue with this idea of like free will, but we learn that he's been a soldier his entire life and he's so conditioned to these things. I mean, told what to do and killing, and he doesn't even feel impassive towards it. He enjoys it, and so like him acting under orders is just okay. Like I got to do it. Like he said, I got to do it. I got to do it. There's no way. Like his brain is unable to
Yeah.
think that yes, this is odd. Yes, I should push back, but instead, when he's told to just push through, his brain just doubles down and is like, yeah, no, fine, I'll do it, and I'll hold my questions because that's not the role of a soldier. Because he brings up multiple times that in some of the codex calls. So I think it's fine to talk about this right now. It's not really jumping ahead, but he talks about with Rose that he wishes he was like Snake, because Snake knows what he's fighting for and has a reason for doing it, wants to do it, versus I'm just here, I'm just doing this. And I don't know how much Rose pushes back on that idea, but she does tell him, that he's kind of a void. He's just this empty vessel. And she talks about when the first time that she went to his room, she like, broke into his apartment and saw that it was completely empty. I think that was a great visualization of like who he is. Like no furniture, no decorations. He wasn't even in there. It's all allegory, I guess, for his brain or like his heart. He's just a vessel for what he's told to do. And I think this game is really, for all the hate that this got when it came out, because you thought you were going to play as Solid Snake and play it as Raiden instead, I think it's genius because Raiden can be that vessel for the Patriots or for whatever external forces and the player, because you're just kind of experiencing this as well, like you're just as confused as he is, and you just have to kind of make the decision, I got to keep going.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm overinterpreting it, but I feel like this is all a part of the meta of the game.
No, that's a really good point. I mean, we as the players are also just saying, okay, I guess I don't need more information right now. I'll keep going. And you just, like you said, follow the orders. I think that's a really good point. I came to really enjoy Raiden as a character in this section. He kind of felt like a blank canvas at first, but I enjoyed, like you were talking about, the struggles he was having with, his free will versus his need to follow orders versus knowing what he wants or knowing what he thinks. It's very, very interesting. let's see. We run into Snake and Otacon again. They say that they know about the Patriots. They know about Arsenal gear. They believe the tanker was sunk and Snake was blamed to send a message to any who would try to oppose the Patriots. So they're trying to kind of prove a point. At that time, Ocelot was working for the Patriots. So why is he seemingly working with Solidus now? And then in case we didn't know it, it's outright stated that Emma is Otacon or Hal's sister. We'll get there in a second. But I want to do it now, though. Hal and Emma, that's a very strange relationship, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're step siblings.
Oh, okay.
They're step siblings. So
That's still weird.
we're gonna do this all now because it's gonna be weird if we try to break it into chunks.
There's not a good time to do it either.
Yeah, and it's not like important to the overall plot. They kind of just put it in there because they couldn't control themselves. So Hal's father marries Emma's mother.
Mm-hmm.
Hal seems to be at least 8 or more years older than Emma. Like at least.
Yeah.
It seemed like there weren't like cutscenes, but like the drawings that pop up while they're talking, she seems like she's like 6, and he's at least in his teens, like late teens, because she's like standing and he's hugging her, and he's on his knees and still bending down to do it. So I don't know. He is in a sexual relationship with her mother. Yeah, that's true. His father finds out about it and drowns himself in front of Emma. He realizes that it was Hal realized it was his fault, so he leaves. And then Emma, who seems to have had feelings for Hal, is like, you betrayed us, but I still want to feel close to you. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to also build Metal Gears like you did.
And wear glasses.
And wear glasses and wet myself whenever the main character meets me for the first time.
That's just called a happy coincidence.
Yeah, and the glasses thing's funny because she's like, "Oh, I actually don't need to wear them. I'm just trying to look like someone."
I'm one of those different girls. Yeah. I'm not like a normal girl.
And like,
no, I agree with her on that.
Emma's character, like, in a box, doesn't bother me. Like, just young, smart girl who is kind of scared of some things but willing to push through, realizes that she needs to do the right thing at the end of it. Why on earth did we need all this extra backstory that's about her messed up family, and why do they make it so weird? Like, is there any justification for that in y'all's minds?
Character development for Hal.
I mean, yeah, I think that's probably the idea. It's to make these characters. No. I mean, I think that's like. Let me clarify like one thing before I say this point. So everything you said is right about like the relationship between them and everything that happened, but I don't think Emma knows about the affair between Hal and her mother, because that to me seemed to be the thing. Like because he was lamenting over that after she was dead, that that's why he didn't save his father, is because he was jealous. Anyways,
God.
Oh, whoops.
We haven't even met her yet. How did she die?
My bad. But I think that this is me having a somewhat, outside looking in perspective, because I've played some of like the later games. I'm assuming it's because Kojima likes this idea of people who have made huge glaring mistakes and are still choose to do better for the world and for themselves. I'm not saying this is the way to do it, but I think that's, as you guys will see, and it's kind of follows this like almost anime like storytelling format where like you have to like cry and scream and let everybody in the room know about this horrific thing you did. And it's like, hey,
Mhm.
could have kept that inside your head, and but we as the audience wouldn't have known otherwise. So I guess it's just, I don't know. I don't, again, I don't agree with the delivery, but I think that's the reasoning for why he does these sorts of things. They're kind of heavy-handed and
Yeah.
hyperbolic.
I can see making Otacon more fleshed out by giving him this tragic family backstory. But I mean, it could have just been as simple as, they were, Otacon was driving and the dad died in a crash or something, and then he felt responsible and left. Like, I don't know. For me, it's the layer of
I couldn't see
incest,
it
I
any other
suppose.
way, you know.
You couldn't see it any other way. This is
No. This is very
cinema.
fitting. This is fitting for him, yeah.
How else would we have the highly annoying swimming section with Emma on our back?
I mean,
Yeah, the
Emma could
car
still
couldn't have
be
fell
there,
off a
but I
bridge
don't
or
know.
anything. No, that would have been.
But it makes me, because I was like really enjoying Otacon as a character. So I'm like, oh, he's gotten brave, he's getting bold, he's standing up for what he believes in, and then he's like, I
Stepmom.
let my father die because I was having relations with his wife, and I was like, I don't know if I can be in your corner anymore, Hal, no matter what you've decided to do now.
I I did look it up while we're sitting here. He's 29 in this game, and Emma's 18. And if this happened 10ish years ago, he would have been like 18 when he was with his stepmom. So I don't know.
Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. We're gonna talk about Emma, but that's enough of the Emmerich family circle.
Well, we don't have to worry about that anymore.
I think that I do think that this is maybe slightly important. I think Emma's infatuation is one-sided. I never felt like Hal was interested in her in any romantic way. I think he always saw her as a younger sister, and that was a
Yeah,
unrequited love type of thing from her end. Um,
that's fair.
I don't know. Still, probably unnecessary, but
Probably.
maybe slightly better. I don't know. Keep
Probably
going.
doing some real heavy lifting with that sentence right there, but I get it. All right, let's focus on what actually happens next.
President.
We go to save Emma. Do what?
I just said president dead. Go save Emma.
Yeah. We go to save Emma, and wouldn't you know it, Vamp is not dead after all. He is not only running on the water, he is just sitting on top of the water. And he says, "This is fancy water. You can't swim in this water. By the way, watch me swim in this water."
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, I didn't really understand. He said there, so I thought maybe like, okay, I guess I'm just forgetting stuff because it's been a while. But the whole microbes thing, were the microbes discussed up until that point, or was it just he was like, there are microbes in this water? I'm
It was
like, okay,
just an explanation for that if you fall in the water, you die. Because you literally just did a swimming section. So why would you die for falling in the water? Because the water has the microbes in it. And so I think it was like you can't float because of the oxygen content. You just sink straight down. But he can because he
He's
is a
special.
literal vampire, and that's never explained.
it's just awesome.
So
It's just never explained.
I will say,
Every other character's superpowers are explained, but not his.
I kind of found him in this fight a bit underwhelming compared to how immortal he is in all these cutscenes.
So when you first fight him, he dives underwater, and you see the oxygen bar pop up, and I'm like, oh, I need to drown him.
Yeah, I shot some
Because
missiles in there.
yeah, because it's like, well, I've shot him in the face and he didn't die, so like I can't just put bullets in him and expect him to die. So I spent forever trying to figure out like the best ways to shoot him while he was swimming to try to, because when you hit him, his oxygen drops down faster. And I was like, if I can get that to go all the way down, then he'll drown, and that would kind of make sense. Even
Yeah.
someone immortal, if they drown, maybe if they need oxygen, they're gonna be stuck down there. Nope. You just He throws knives at you. You dodge the knives, and you shoot him when you have the opportunity. It kind of gets faster, so I started with the SOCOM pistol and then moved on to the AK later on, or the M4 rather.
I was kind of proud of myself. I didn't start taking damage to the last fourth of his health bar. I was kind of, because I just ran a circle the whole time. I actually found if you sit in the back left corner of the map.
Mhm.
And if you look at him, he starts to go left. If you're to the left of that back corner, he'll start walking to the left. Whenever he gets close to rounding the corner, I just went to the right side and he'd start walking to the right side instead. And so eventually he would keep doing that, slowly walking until he jumped back into the water. So I don't know if I was like missing a section of fighting because I happened to find that out, but it was pretty easy while he was just walking back and forth.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wasted no no chance to use my stinger, so I just immediately whipped it out.
I
Went
didn't
to
think
like
about that.
the back right corner is where I went because there's the actual like little alcove back there. So I went back there, and his pathfinding apparently gets messed up if you go back there.
Oh, I didn't even.
And
try
so
the
I
full-
kind of
map.
cheesed it, I guess. But I stood back there with the stinger and would hit him, and it would do enough damage to make him immediately hit the water.
Mhm.
And then he would jump out, and then I'd do it again. And I just cycled through that over the course of like 2 minutes until he died.
Was the stinger
It was pretty
hurting
straightforward.
him while he was red? Because I wasn't doing any damage while he was red. I'm just curious if the stinger was affected by that.
While he was red.
Was yours not?
That probably didn't happen for you. There were some attacks he would glow red and he couldn't be hurt, so you had to dodge.
Really?
I was smacking him.
Anytime he went to the second floor, he was always red for me, and then
Oh, you're talking about where he
glowing.
like throw his daggers?
Yeah,
Yeah, he'd be
and
glowing.
then you have to wait for him to finish, and he kind of just stands there for a second, and you shoot him until he falls off.
I'll be honest, I just kind of dealt with the daggers coming in.
Tanked him.
Yeah, I mean, I used a lot of rations in the fight because I just kind of stayed there. That's the only time I ever took damage, I think, is when he threw those. But I think the stinger is so slow and it requires a lock on. He might have been done with his like
Maybe, yeah.
invulnerability by the time I was actually shooting him.
I enjoyed the fight. It wasn't as clever as I expected it to be, but it was still fun.
What's funny is I didn't remember what does he do when the fight ends, because I don't remember him like falling over dead. What does he do? I don't even remember.
I think he falls into the water and sinks.
That's right.
He is.
Okay.
But either before the fight starts or right before he dies, he's like, by the way, there's a hydrogen bomb
Yeah.
in Arsenal gear, and so we have GW to activate it, just so you know. Look forward to that in the future. And then he falls in the water and dies for the second time.
Yep. Luckily, he's dead.
I was
and
counting in
gone
my
now.
head. Yeah.
Luckily,
For
he's dead
sure.
and gone
Not
now.
going to come back in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to have to fight him again.
What's funny is like during the cutscenes before that fight starts, he's like, "Yes, she's in the next room," and I was like, "Okay, so whenever the fight's over, I'll just walk into this room and she'll be in there." Nope. There's another.
The next
underwater.
room after the underwater section.
There's another
Why would you think
underwater
that?
section.
All right. We do eventually get to Emma. She explains what GW is. It was created at the turn of the century under the guise of being like a defense against Y2K.
Because
Yes, go on.
this is where we learn from her, right? That the 12 shadow government people used Y2K to spread their control over everybody and Y2K.
Yeah, they put like the GW on like every device basically, so they could control the flow of information on every single device.
Or you didn't say that, right?
No, not
Okay.
yet.
Okay. Sorry.
You're good.
I was like, did he just say that? I was like second guessing myself now.
You're totally fine. Emma kind of flirts with Raiden a little bit, which is also kind of weird. And then she's like, "I can't swim." It's like, you don't have to swim. Just give him my back. And they spend like 10 minutes being like, "Just hold your breath."
Listen to my heartbeat. When you count to 100, we'll already be through it. That's a quote.
Yeah, and she's like, "You know what this reminds me of? Cuddling with my brother and listening to his heartbeat. That's what this reminds me of."
Did
like,
she say that? I kind of tuned out halfway through.
She talked about how Hal would give her piggyback rides.
Oh, that's right.
When she was, and she would listen to his heartbeat and it would calm her down. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're done talking about that. It's not that bad. Her oxygen meter is smaller than Raiden's, but there are enough points where you can stop and look up or get air, so it's not that big a deal.
Fun
Just making
fact:
it through.
she can get hit by mines and not die.
Mhm. Yeah, she can tank those. Those are not very good mines.
Nope.
Hmm. I
Um,
think that if you were like directionally challenged, this would be bad.
Sure.
But I mean, it even shows you a really quick cutscene. Yeah, okay, I guess if you're John, I
so
remember the path pretty easily.
Yeah.
I
But
remembered the path, but whenever I would go up for water, it would like change angles, and then I would accidentally go down the wrong path, and then I'd have to
yeah,
go up for air, and then I did it twice in a row, and then I figured it out.
That's what the mini map is for.
Yeah, I got it really good for the first portion we did a minute ago, but the second one for some reason is the easier one. I just kept going down the wrong hallway, but I mean I didn't have an issue. I just had to go back up for air again.
It was like, it's been 400 seconds, Raiden. What are we doing?
I was thinking that as I got her out, I was like, it's definitely been more than 100 seconds.
I do think that related to previous point I made a little while ago about the higher difficulties, making this a higher difficulty setting, making this a way more difficult section. Without the mini map, this probably would have been not nearly as traversable.
Right.
And I
Is there
think
no mini
once
map
you,
in the higher difficulties?
yeah, I'm pretty sure it
Oh
turns
man,
off.
yeah, that would be really
So,
annoying.
and there's also a bunch of other sections later
Which,
where I can see that being an issue
surely the
because you
people,
can't see the guard cones.
surely the people that have played this game a lot to play on the higher difficulties kind of know the water section by then. It's not that long, but the
Yeah.
guards would be a different story for sure.
Hmm.
One thing she did get me with was she was like, they gave me leg no work shot. Please hold my hand or I can't walk anymore.
Yeah, this was like, I was like, oh, I really wasn't expecting an escort mission in this game. And so you get her through the water, and you're like, great, now let's walk to the next place. And she's like, I can't. So you have to literally take her by the hand and effectively drag her everywhere. The good news is she doesn't die from bullets.
Yeah.
At least not immediately. She might eventually. She never did when I was playing. Except I did accidentally. I was trying to grab her hand one time, and I pressed the wrong button, and I like got her in a headlock. And I was
I
like,
did it a few times.
I was like, I wonder, and I just started mashing the button and just snapped.
And she just goes,
and I was like,
and then falls to the
and
ground.
you get a game over. And I think when I got the game over, it was Otacon, and he was like, Raiden, what did you do?
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's like,
didn't end up finishing her with that. I just
oh no, I definitely
For a
did. I just
second.
wanted to see if you could,
oh
and you can. Freedom to the players.
I killed her with a grenade, but I did
That's
not
it.
choke her out.
What are you using
I
grenades?
so I'm a sore loser. Um, I so later Metal Gear Solid games. This isn't really a spoiler, but later games, I see more of a justification in following through after you get caught and set off the alarms. This game, a lot of times, it depended on where I was at. But like the last half of the game, if I got caught, I knew that it was going to be such a pain to try to fix the issue
Mm-hmm.
that it was easier for me to just kill myself and
I
restart
would
it
just
than
stand there.
to
And what's
yeah. And
easier than
so
killing yourself? Killing
grenade,
your
kill yourself. Oh
teammate's
yeah.
little sister.
Well, yeah. I think what it was I was trying to kill myself and had like the ration still selected, and I was like, well, I might as well just finish her off. She'll be dead sooner.
It's not
I
too
did try to
bad.
push her off of a platform once, and I realized that didn't work, and I rolled off
Oh, that's
myself on
unfortunate.
accident.
Yeah, that section when you get back outside and it's magically fixed, all the areas
They
you
put
have to
like wood
parkour
planks
over.
down.
Yeah, so I'm assuming the soldiers could get over there where you had to
Yeah.
dodge them.
Yeah, they don't know how to cartwheel.
At one point, I just left her at the beginning because I kept dying where that fire was. So I went over there and got rid of everything on my own, and then brought her back later.
When I
Mm.
went up to the fire, it was the same thing earlier with the bugs in the elevator. I like just walked up to it and I was like, okay, I got to do something about this. And then immediately it was like a codec call. I was like, hey, use the coolant to get rid of this. And I was like, oh, it's kind of neat that they're bringing back devices that we've had
That were
for like
one-time
new
use, you
uses.
thought?
But like, give me a second to figure it out. Don't just
Right.
immediately be like, here's what you got to do.
I never got that.
Maybe
So like,
maybe I took too long then.
I would say your game thought you were dumb. I guess I don't know.
Maybe
Well,
you
I mean, I
did.
died like 10 times at that section, and
Oh,
I just eventually figured it out on my own.
I did go the wrong way, so I went away from the fire and around, and I had to bring her all the way back. And so maybe that was factored into how long I was taking. But I had
Maybe.
like just had the thought, let me try the fire now, but it was fine. Cool use of
I
stuff.
did. I wanted to bring up the roaches real quick
Yep.
because I was playing that last night, and I think yeah, I came up on my own without Emma, and if you run around on the roaches, you can crush them, and it as far as I could tell, it did not stop creating new little crushed roaches, and so I just kept on going and going in circles. And I was fully convinced. I did it for like 2 minutes. I was like, if you do it long enough, you can crush all of them. And Larkin was sitting there watching me. She's like, no, they're not decreasing. I'm like, I swear they are. Just watch. I bet this is just like a really cool feature for those
That's
people who
awesome.
are inclined to sit here and do that. Now they didn't decrease at all. And then I of course grabbed Emma and brought her over, and she's like, "Ew, bugs!" And I was like,
Yeah.
I just wasted 2 minutes running in circles, just spinning the little stick around.
what was the deal with the bugs anyway?
I
Like
didn't
they
understand.
appear throughout the game, and I assumed it was going to be like a character controls them or something, or they appear when a character is nearby, but that never happens.
Is she
Thought
not
it was
even alive?
Fortune.
I did too, but then there's no bugs in her like last act whenever she shows up.
I think they're just bugs because why not?
You know,
Aren't we all bugs?
yes.
Aren't we
We're
all
all
cockroaches
pests to the
in this?
world. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I used my AK-47, AK-74, whichever one it was, for the first time in this very last area. Once you clear the fire, you get your level 4 key card. There's one little area you have to bring her through again. And when
Mhm.
you walk into the room and turn the corner, there's just two guards that immediately see me. And so I take them out pretty quick, but it already calls other guards in. And so I just left her in that hallway and kept going. I was
Mhm.
like, well, let me see how much is left. And they're just all standing there trying to shoot me. And they're not even shooting her, just keep trying to shoot me. And then I realized this blocked door. So I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to shoot all these guards. First time using the AK. Took them all out because they're all lined up in a row. And then the guy on the microphone just goes, what's happening? All right, everyone back to your positions, and just cancels the the extra guards or whatever just because I got rid of them all.
You're a murderer.
Yeah, well, what can you do?
He killed too many of us. Just go back to your normal jobs, guys. You
We make
scared him
it through
away.
that room that John was talking about, and then we get to the sniper section. This is the part where there's very narrow, kind of floating platforms connecting where we are to where Emma needs to go.
May I describe?
Yeah, please do.
So, um, like you said, there's narrow sections. She goes without you, and you're over there with your sniper rifle and your medication. And um, as you're trying to do
Good
this,
combination.
yeah, yeah. As you're doing this, you're taking out the guys in front of you. You might see one of the little robots to your right. You're taking those out, but suddenly she just dies. And then you try again. And you're like, well, who did I miss this time? And then she dies again. So you keep going on and on for maybe 4 or 5 tries until you realize that, oh, I got a thermal scope earlier. So I put the thermal scope on, and then I get the guys again, but she dies again. And then you put the thermal scope on again, and you happen to see claymores on the path. So I sat there for a few minutes wondering how she kept dying because I really thought I got everybody. And then she's just walking on claymores.
Earlier,
I don't
when I
know.
was complaining about the them calling and telling me about the fire. I understand now why they did that. Because, John, right before that section starts, you get a call from Snake. And he's like, be sure to use your thermal goggles. There are claymores on the platforms.
Yeah, see, I wasn't listening.
Okay, that's what I was about to say. Is I thought that was a mandatory codec call.
It
Yeah,
probably was.
just-
That doesn't mean I was going to listen to it. There
I mean,
were
don't
a
get me
lot of
wrong.
them.
Like,
There were a
she
lot.
definitely died from the claymores my first time because I just immediately didn't think about it. But they did at least tell us. That's really funny, John.
Or maybe I did listen to it and then forgot all about it. That equally the same thing. Likability there.
There's
Well,
a lot
okay.
of talking in this game. You can't remember all of it.
Now I'm curious though. Did you use Snake to help you at all?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so you heard that part
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, because he calls you whenever she's halfway done nearly. And he's like, hey, I'm in position now.
Okay.
Just
That's
call
later.
me if you want help since you're so good. Or he's
Mhm.
like, but you're so good you probably don't want my help because of your simulations. And then I was like, nah, I'm going to call you. He's like, all right, just look at anything you want me to kill. And then he did a worse job than I did.
Oh, she was great for me.
Well,
He
he
would knock
kept
out
shooting the spots on the robot that takes 3 hits to kill. He wasn't going for the critical hits. On some of the guys, he was taking 2 hits. He wasn't
Fair
doing
enough.
one shots on most things, and I was because I had my pills.
But the issue though for me is I was running out of pills because I was using them. You know, as soon as I'd run out of them, I'd like use them again, and I was down to like 2, like halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was using them faster than she was walking, and so I was thankful to have him. By the end, I just kind of stopped shooting. It was just like, yeah, you go, bro. I'll sight you in. You just keep shooting.
I had plenty of the pills. I really like the pills as a mechanic. I know I've said that like every time we've talked about Metal Gear, but I really enjoy that. But I ran out of ammo,
Yeah, I did.
and I didn't
run out of
realize that
ammo in
more
the
was
gun.
spawning around you at all times because I was just in the scope.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, so I just was I ran out of ammo, and so I just from my scope screen you can call Snake. So I just called Snake, and he started shooting. I never left the scope, and then whenever eventually you get to the point where she's almost there, Vamp jumps up and is like, "I'm gonna kill her. I'm still alive, sucker."
We
And I'm
killed
like,
him.
"Oh."
What?
I was like, "I don't have any bullets," and then I look and there's like 4 boxes of ammo next to me. I'm like, "Oh dang, I probably could have just used those to finish this second set out."
And you know, the thermal kind of hinders you for that little spot because I turned it on and started shooting, and I couldn't tell who was who, obviously, because he's like holding her, and so
Right.
I ended up dying because I ran out of the sniper bullets and didn't realize I could get more, and so it reloads that scene. Thankfully, I didn't have to redo the whole thing,
Oh,
and
that's
I
good.
turned the thermal off, and it was so easy once I turned the thermal off.
Yeah. But then it doesn't matter because he actually stabbed her and she's still gonna die. So Snake runs down, grabs her, and
Carries her off.
carries her inside.
And hopefully he's
And then
gone
she
for good,
dies.
but we'll know soon.
Well, I mean, that is the last time we see him, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I was just kidding.
It is, but
It's
he
like
could be in the 3rd game.
there's no reason to believe that he's dead.
You mean alive?
But every time
Oh.
they're like, you finally got him, you did it. There's no reason to believe that he's actually gone, but he doesn't show up again, so who knows?
I have not played it, but I'm willing to bet we will see him in Metal Gear Solid 4. He will
Mhm.
show up at the end of the series in some way.
You mean 3?
3's a prequel.
What? Okay.
I explained this in the last discussion, John.
Fake fan.
I don't listen.
You didn't listen to the codec
I
call.
was gonna say I wasn't listening to all these codecs.
Oh, we should have done that for these videos. We should have put like a green filter over our videos.
Not too
That'd
late.
be fun.
We haven't
That's true.
edited
You
the
can do
second
that.
one yet.
Let's see. Otacon tries to save her. They fell. Emma says she always wanted to see him again. Wanted her to call her Emma instead of EE because she wanted to be seen as a woman.
Very fair, actually. The EE thing was grossing me out. Something about the way he was saying it.
It just sounds like a
Stop.
dolphin.
All right, let's move on.
She has a pet parrot. We learned
Yeah,
that
she has
at
a
some
pet parrot.
point.
That's the parrot that we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Um, and
Just-
pretty much the second that Emma dies, the parrot is like, "Hal, I miss you," and he's like, "Oh." I was like, "Oh yeah."
Let me rank.
Help me! Help me! My soul is stuck in the parrot.
I'm gonna before we move on. This is the section of how we rank them as good parrot owners. EE, bad parrot owner. That's a horrible cage for that size bird, and it's got rounded edges. Very bad for the bird. It can't move. It can't fly. Otacon, partially good bird owner at the start. He lets it out. He lets it on his arm. And then he turns into bad pet owner when he lets it fly away and then doesn't
You
care
don't think
about
letting
it.
your parrot fly free in New York City is a good idea?
No.
What about Central Park? You can go live in Central Park.
You'd be surprised at how many times somebody in the bird subreddit is like, "Hey, I found this parrot in Central Park. I want to try to catch it. How do I do it?" Try to help.
Pokeballs.
Plenty of people drop animals off in Central Park. There's nothing wrong with that.
You had me in the first.
It's like
place
the
with
New
that.
York version of your dog living on the farm, right? You just drop
Throw it
your
in the
parrot off
park.
Central Park.
That's where I throw all my old goldfish in the lake.
Mhm.
That's where our Secretary of Health dropped a dead bear. Why wouldn't you? If he can do it, we all should.
True.
This one time in 2001, I found a parrot by the name of Emma in Central Park.
Oh, okay. We gotta move on.
Did my mic actually pick up all of that?
All
That's
of
good
it.
to know.
All of it.
We heard it. So, yeah.
Good.
All of it.
It
Yeah.
was a pretty good impression. I don't know if that's a good thing. It was a pretty good impression. Before Emma died, she was able to set up a program somehow on this computer,
On her deathbed.
and all Snake has to do is insert the disk and press start. It's about 90% installed. Hold on. GW that they're trying to stop is about 90% installed whenever the virus that they just put in takes over. Okay, and there's a lot of they use a lot of medical lingo during this section. Like I know it's a computer virus, but they were like, oh, it's administering antibodies, it's fighting the virus. Like they really are trying to make it like it's just like a real medical thing. And sure, we'll see those parallels later as well. Snake says that he and Raiden need to go kill Solidus and Ocelot just in case this virus doesn't work. And then Otacon is leaving with the parrot to go save the hostages, stopping every 3 steps to cry.
Yeah.
And then the parrot yells at him. And then, plot twist. You go into the next room, Gray Fox shows up. Turns out it's been Olga the entire time, and she knocks Raiden out. We were betrayed. How'd you feel, gentlemen?
I was a little surprised
I actually,
that it was her.
so last discussion, I remember telling you guys I didn't think it was
The guy from
the
first one.
original. Yeah, the original.
You were
Was
right.
it Gray Fox?
Yeah, Gray Fox.
But I didn't really know who it was. My brain, I was thinking it was just like a cyborg robot, maybe. I don't know. But I will say, right before it was revealed, it all of a sudden clicked in my brain, only because of the accent. As I was like, is this Olga? But I didn't like, that was more of like a tinfoil hat because of the accent, because it didn't make any sense in any other way. Like, why is she a ninja now? Where'd this katana come from?
Yeah.
Why is she doing this at all? Which I guess we are about to hear in just a sec. But
it is weird. So we learned that they knocked Raiden out so that Olga could give him to Solidus to create kind of a distraction so that Snake could infiltrate Arsenal. But okay, sure. But if that's the first point that she's on Snake's side, then I don't know. It's still kind of confusing because she already had the suit. She has already been helping Raiden earlier in the game, and I guess she was acting on Ocelot's orders before she knew the truth.
I
And
think that was the premise. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
the way she was helping was just getting Raiden to do what Ocelot wanted
Yeah, because
him to.
she says it later on that she wasn't working with Snake the whole time. That she didn't even know he was
Yeah.
going to be there. Yeah.
She found out like during the sniper section. That's why you have to kill Vamp. It's because she's like pulls a gun on Snake at that moment, and that's when
Yeah.
they talk it out.
I think that we're cutting ahead into the fourth double crossing that happens where Ocelot explains, that this was all set up from the beginning and pretty much going into the whole free will not existing argument here. Um, the only factor that they didn't account for was Solid Snake showing up, but
Mm-hmm.
Fat Man was a test. Everything up to this point is a test. And that's my interpretation as well, is that Olga was intentionally put there to be another test for him in some way or another, like maybe a help, but also like to see his willingness to continue going along with these things as they play out. I don't know. It's kind of loose and fast.
They
Yeah.
also set it up like this whole thing is supposed to be a parallel to Shadow Moses, and so
Yeah.
having Gray Fox be there again is just that happening again. So
And then it's torture time.
we get to play the button mashing minigame again.
But
It's a lot easier than the first
I
time.
was going to say,
It's
it's
so
so
much
easy.
I got really worried that it was going to be as difficult as the first game or
Mm-hmm.
some of the later games, but thankfully it was like 10 seconds. That was it.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, and it comes up again later. Solidus likes to
A lot harder later.
chokehold
though.
you with his Doc Ock arms a few times.
Yeah.
All right, 1 sec.
Yeah, he definitely looks like Dr. Ock from Spider-Man with his 2 tentacles that also shoot missiles somehow.
It's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah. Lucky.
Like
I have a
that.
problem with the 3-pronged hook
Yeah.
because he keeps grabbing people by the throat with it, and he keeps doing it this way, and then the third prong just goes directly into their chest. I'm just saying.
It's a firm grip, you know?
It goes flat.
It doesn't though. Like you can see the model just go straight in and just kind of.
You're supposed to. That's the fun of playing a old low polygon game on a box TV. Is you're supposed to be able to just imagine it, right? Your brain fills in the gaps.
Gotcha.
So, torture time is complete. And what do we learn?
Let's see. Solidus is like, yo, that's my son.
Yeah. Casually.
My son. His name's Jack. All right. So, and then Olga comes in to free us. She's talking to us, and she's like, hey, by the way, the Patriots have my daughter. Snake explained everything. I'm going to help you now. I'm going to free you, but not yet. And then she punches us in the stomach and walks out.
Very polite.
Very, very, very polite. While we were waiting for our bindings to be released, Rose calls one more time. And we've talked a little bit about the drama that Rose and Jack have been having on the codec calls. But in this section, Raiden or Jack he's feeling guilty. He's kind of realized just talking to Solidus, he's like, oh, I was a child soldier. I just take orders. I kill and I feel nothing. I actually am the problem, Rose. And what she says, and this is good relationship advice, is we should get married. I can fix you. It's basically what happens. And Jack's like, no, I'm too broken. And she's like, please. And he says, I'll think about it. So fix yourself before you get married. But Rose is pretty excited about it.
Is this the same codec call where he just finally comes clean to her though? Or is this later and then maybe okay, so this is the one where he ends up actually and coming clean to the players as well. I think we already talked about this a little bit, but explains that no, he doesn't just follow orders. So yeah, he might follow orders, but it's not this impartial neutral Jin stance of I kill because I must. He actually thoroughly enjoys it, and
Yeah,
it kind of Yeah, he explains it like, no, he's kind of a sociopath. Like he's always enjoyed the inflicting pain to other people, which I think is an interesting take. Um, and kind of, I don't know. I think it's fun to like reverse everything and look at everything that you kind of learned about him from Rose's perspective. After learning that, and you're like, I don't know, man. Maybe Rose, he's kind of using you, and it's kind of all fun for him to toy
Mm.
with your emotions. I don't necessarily think the game goes that direction later on because I think this is really more of a superficial. Well, it's such an over the top thing for him to be like, I enjoy killing people and inflicting pain, but I don't think the story ever really continues down that path. But I do think it's interesting because it also combines with the ideas he discusses earlier about how he wishes he was like Snake and how he wishes he was fighting for something. And I guess
Mhm.
you could argue that being with someone like Snake during the course of this mission has made him realize that he's fighting for horrible reasons, whether being used as a tool or for his own enjoyment, and there's something beyond that he should be pushing for.
He wants to
I
kill
don't
for
know.
good reason, you know?
Exactly. Which
Justify.
I'm not going to go into that, but I do think this series at some points does discuss like the justification of like killing, and it's not saying it's right, but like goes through some of those like philosophical arguments because these games, as
Yeah.
we will discuss later, are extremely philosophical. And I know later games in the series specifically hit on the idea of like murder versus killing, with the idea that murder is obviously like unjust, and you can't. If we were to sit in a court of law, everybody would agree, yes, this is bad. Versus killing under the context of defense, or maybe an offensive war that's to prevent larger issues. You can. I think that there's the hypocrisy of all of this is discussed in this game and elsewhere. But anyways, I digress. I think these games are fun because of this stuff.
And there is a reason that like your primary weapon that you get is a trank gun.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, yes, it's the stealth aspect too because it can be silent, but plenty of fiction uses silencers that are completely silent, and you're just murdering your way through. So I definitely think it's an intentional thing to be like, should you kill or not? I wouldn't be surprised if there are achievements for going through a game without killing anybody.
You know,
It's preferred by the game.
Yeah.
second half of the game, I was just using that pistol with the silencer.
That's how I start every
It's a
stealth game is like
permanent
no
sleep.
kills, and then it gets too hard, and you're like, all right, where are the grenades?
But even then, like sometimes the stealth or using like tranquilizers can be broken because, um, if you like shoot and kill somebody with a tranquilized, like the M90, the actual pistol with bullets, it would kill somebody if they find the body. It would set off an alarm. But if you use a tranquilizer pistol, knock somebody out, they find somebody knocked out, they're just going to kick them and wake them up and then like move on. Sometimes if they're already like on alert or like later sections of the game, I do think it can set off an alarm, but there are rewards even outside of like the in-game rankings. The game does kind of pass along this idea through these more subtle moments that
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't kill people.
What a message. Thanks, Kojima. No, you're definitely
He's
right.
right sometimes.
It was just funny. All right, so your Olga does the thing, Raiden's bindings come off, and he is free to explore. Only problem is he doesn't have any of his gear. So this man is fig leaf posing through the entire next stealth section.
I did
You
a
wanna do
lot of
cartwheels?
cartwheels, so yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very funny watching a grown man. I don't think he even uses one of his hands. I think he just does a sideways jump.
Yeah, which makes the cartwheels he does like at other times. So you could have always just done this without your hands, man. Like it's not a cartwheel at that point. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
just
It's
like
just a flip.
a lateral
It's like a
flip.
flip.
Yeah,
Just pick up and rotate. Like it's
it's pretty crazy actually the amount of strength you would have to do it, and he does it very fluidly.
dude, he's built, and his hands don't slip.
Yeah,
He
they
doesn't
sure
slip at
don't.
all. He knows he's gonna land on his feet.
Frame by frame, they sure do not slip.
I think it's really funny. I think like right after this, you get the codec call from Snake where he tells you that you're gonna have to go through this next area, and or maybe it's actually the colonel who tells you, but someone calls you and tells you have to go through this next area without your weapons, without your stealth gear, etc. And my favorite part is you're told you won't be able to use hand-to-hand combat or hang from ledges. And the reasoning is entirely they don't want to have to animate something on screen. But because I was like, what? And so I do think it actually makes gameplay here like fun because it forces you into stealth entirely. You can't
like
fight
true
at any
stealth.
point. Mm-hmm.
I thought this section was hard.
I think it was one of the harder stealth sections in the game for sure.
Yeah, it got to the point where I figured out how I could just run past the first half, and then right before going up the stairs, had to be a little sneaky, and then eventually just kind of sprint past all of that too.
Did
Mm-hmm.
y'all find the box?
Mm-hmm.
I did not find a box.
I used the box. I died like
I
twice.
got it, but I didn't use it.
I died twice, but I found the box, and then it was so easy.
What kind of box was it?
I don't remember.
There's lots
It's
of different kinds of
a
boxes.
video game like distribution box because I read the description on it and I
Very
didn't
deep.
use it because it says that like it stands out because the design is so flashy and I was like
Well, the
I was
camera
thinking
didn't
like
care.
okay well so I was thinking maybe this is coded to make it easier to be seen but I just waited for the camera angles to like turn away and just ran through but it required not tons, but slight memorization of guard patterns.
Mm-hmm.
But it really just was trial and error. It took me like 9 or 10 times to do it because I just like kept on goofing right at the end, and I knew that I just allowed myself to die rather than trying to like force my way through the rest of the section.
And it doesn't help that as you're sneaking through this, the colonel is calling you on repeat, and he starts kind of freaking out. Yeah, he starts kind of glitching. He's telling you got to go finish the mission. He eventually starts saying things like, "This is a role-playing game," which I don't know if I would agree that Metal Gear Solid 2 is a role-playing game, personally. But
I actually really like it because meta, right? Like you were playing a
meta.
role. You're playing the role that
Because you're doing cartwheels.
exactly. It I don't know if it's I think it's before this section. I think we should really I guess back up like a little bit for the sake of just
Sure.
the last couple of conversations with the colonel they've gotten progressively more and more tense and we talked about that a little bit earlier but I think that the last real conversation that has any depth to it is between I can't remember this specific subject matter but the colonel keeps on repeating like your role is this and Raiden gets angry and was like what do you mean my role why do you keep saying that word role and I think that's it was really small I didn't really think anything about it until Raiden said something about it and then the colonel corrects himself and he was like I mean your objective is to do this and I mean this comes up a little bit later but I think it's a great like I said meta way to look at this that like this is all as we were beginning to see crafted for a higher purpose and that's what he's doing is he's playing a role in this game but I agree this isn't really an RPG to me I mean I can't really think of any significant choices that you would make that would allow you to be Raiden. I don't know.
Yeah, and you're not making any choices in like building your character up. It just kind of they give you the tools and you can use them or not. He also says things like he calls Raiden a failure, and he says, "I'll take care of this myself." And then eventually he says, "Turn off the game."
Yeah.
And I was struggling to get through the stealth section in the nude, and I was like, maybe this is impossible. And so I just saved and I quit and just turned the game off. And I turned it right back on, and the pop-up came up. He's like, "You're a failure. Turn off the game." And I was like, "Oh, you're just trying to anti-motivate me right now."
I was curious about that because my brain went back to like Psycho Manus fight from the first game, and I thought like maybe I could do this for a fun Easter egg, but I just kept on powering through.
Yeah, literally nothing happens. I was hoping they would have some unique dialogue, or at least like, "Why are you back?" Or I would just be jumped ahead to the next area or something. But nope, you just restart it.
I like that the face at this point starts to kind of intermix with like a skull. That was a lot of fun,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I believe at one point he just starts speaking straight gibberish. He's like, "The fishy tango soup of yesterday's luncheon," and you're like, "What are you talking about?" But which is really crazy. I'm jumping ahead like a minute, but the next time we have an actual conversation with Colonel, this this was very frustrating to me, and like all of the immersion that I felt in this moment was taken out for a brief second because the next real conversation that's like a scripted timed phone call with Colonel says something, triggering to Raiden, like this is over, Raiden, this is gone to, or something like that, and Raiden's like, what are you talking about, what's going on with you? I'm like, the whole last 10 minutes of him yelling in your ear while you're running around naked didn't like, I guess he's too preoccupied with trying to
Yeah, just following
cartwheel
orders.
no hands. Yeah.
So I guess we can jump into this now. Turns out that the Colonel has been AI the entire time. I unfortunately did know this twist. It was like one of the two things that I had spoiled for me about this game. This and that you played as Raiden. John, I have a feeling you didn't know that that was going to happen. So I'm curious what your perspective is.
I mean, I was kind of expecting him to be some sort of simulation pretty early on into this second game. So I don't remember when. It definitely would have been before our second recording, where I was like, this guy might be some sort of just like fake simulation. I assumed her name's Rose. Is that right?
Yes.
I assumed Rose was too, but it didn't appear to be the case.
And you were basing that on like him always talking about the VR training and things like that?
Them talking and how similar it was to how they would talk to Snake. And then, yeah, as soon as they were bringing up all these VR simulations, I was like, okay, well, it seems pretty understandable that he could perchance be over the VR training for whatever
Fair enough.
branch was developing these super soldiers. So, or super spies, I guess. I don't know.
Do we want to just dig into the AI now? Just talk about them?
There's not like a good time.
Yeah, everything that happens at the end, there's like 7 revelations, and they all happen like right in between each other. So there's no way to like break it up.
I kept on saying, like, I'm sorry for jumping ahead, sorry for jumping, but this just like the last hour, it's just like a movie essentially with minor bits of gameplay between.
I was actually told this. My cousin thought I was watching a movie, and I was like, no, I'm actually playing a game.
Yeah.
After
Martin did too. Martin, are you watching like an anime right now? I was like, be quiet. There's a huge right now. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I have a full playthrough pulled up right now, and after you shoot Vamp, when has Emma hostage, to the end of the game, is still another 2.5 hours. And think about there is one stealth sequence and like 2 boss fights.
Yep.
And
there's a lot there, just not in the way of gameplay.
Not gameplay. So we find out that the AI, the Colonel and Rose have been AI this whole time. The AI has been. Eventually, we find this out. Okay.
I don't completely agree with timing. I think that the Colonel has been.
Okay.
I don't think Rose has been AI the entire time. I think Rose has been actually herself and has been legitimately communicating with you throughout most of this until her transmission gets cut when she is about to say, I'm pregnant. At that point, it's cut off, and Jack/Raiden is like, what happened? Where's Rose? And that's when the Colonel's like, don't worry, Raiden. You must continue the mission. And at that point, Rose's messaging starts going really off the rail.
She starts bugging out too.
I was gonna say, I'm not gonna lie. Whenever her said that, I was like, okay, well, like, surely it's just like a last ditch effort to get him to somehow finish his mission. I was like, okay, she's got to be like some sort of program.
I think that she was actually there throughout most of it, because of just some of the other things she says, like she's never met the colonel before, and she's not really sure what's going on there. I do think she is working with the government in some capacity,
Mm-hmm.
but I actually don't think that she is replaced with an AI until that moment. And I do think it's very intentional because they cut off. Like, why would the AI cut itself off with the "I'm pregnant" statement if it wasn't actually happening?
No, that
Since
makes some
everything else
sense.
was an intentional manipulation.
It was a
Right.
hallucination
Maybe so.
That does
of
make
the AI.
sense.
Yeah.
So the AI has been developed, quote, underneath the White House. That is about as specific as they get about where it came from. But it has been, yeah. Help me out if I'm missing stuff. But that's
No,
all I
I'm
got.
waiting. I'm waiting for the next part.
And they have basically just been becoming sentient over the last however many years.
I wanted to say that we were essentially told that it was since like the time of George Washington, right? But
Yeah.
and I didn't really necessarily take it as a direct like, not that the AI itself was developed in the time of George Washington, because that's obviously preposterous. More like the fundamental personality of the AI and what the government was all heading toward. Like
Mm-hmm.
the American experiment began with the founding fathers, but really it was leading to this godlike entity of AI making the decisions on behalf of the world, not just the United States, but
Yeah.
everybody.
And those decisions include censoring certain information. We talked about the Patriots wanting to censor information to have their plans unfold and censor any information about themselves. But now this is the AI saying they're claiming that they are creating context to try to help humanity um, grow and evolve in the best way possible by limiting the access to information. And they make some interesting points that there are people out there who are like willingly and willfully just pushing out false narratives. I mean, we see that all the time. Um, and they also talk about people who decide that they think one thing, and then they find a bubble of people who think that same thing, and they stay in that bubble and refuse to actually communicate and share ideas. So they're making some points, but at the end of the day, it is also censorship and the destruction of free speech, and those are things that I would argue are good. Well, free speech is good. Free speech is good. Not the
I was like, is this
not
a
the censorship
test?
of it.
Is this a test?
Yeah, this is a test. You enter, you out.
Um, uh, can we just say that it's kind of crazy that the best society that this AI could come up with, well, and those 12 is capitalism, the best we could come up with?
It's the best tool for control.
Yeah, I guess so.
And that's like part of the whole argument, right? Is the entire system has been designed around giving what it believes is the most optimal,
Yeah, I
management of
guess
the world.
the illusion of freedom. I guess that's kind of what you want, right?
And it talks about all the mistakes that humans make just on a daily basis to like ruin their own lives and to ruin their civilization. And
I mean,
Ryden's like, "This isn't fair," and he's like, "Look what you've done. You are running around here killing people for fun. You don't even know why." And my favorite quote by the AI was, "You lack the qualifications to exercise free will." That that's an intense statement. That I mean, honestly, I've seen people saying some really dumb stuff online. I could see someone countering with that, and me being like, "Yeah," but that doesn't make it good.
I think that this really is me jumping ahead here, but I don't care.
Go for it.
This is more like summation of game, my feelings, right? I think the last hour of this game make the prior 10 to 12, 7 hours if you're really good, make everything worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I've said it like 3 or 4 times now, but it's very clear to me why this game has had a resurgence and a uh, revisiting from people, and now I think most people are going to say this is like top 2 or 3 Metal Gear Solid games because of just how relevant it is, and like obviously it's becoming more relevant with like generative AI and the fact that so many people, whether you want to or not, are just completely bombarded with language learning models and like stuff like simple Google search, right? So
Yeah.
many people now, I want to say that ChatGPT has like surpassed Google and like people using it as a search engine, which is
Oh man.
crazy to me to think about. But the thing is, when I use Google, Google's horrible now, and what I get is the immediate like amalgamation from AI, and you can argue for or against. I think most of the time it's crap, and the search is
Mm-hmm.
just it's so much harder now to use. And like, yeah, it'll show sources, and I can go click and look. I will say within the last year or so, Google AI specifically has gotten more succinct and actually accurate with the things that it tells me when it gives me an abbreviated version of an answer. But this is exactly what's happening, and you can. I mean, yes, it's more of a free industry. You know, these are private entities who are deciding to do this rather than the government who's indicating like this has to be done this way or that. But the end result is kind of similar, right? I mean, a lot of these language learning models also engage in like censorship and won't answer certain questions. Sometimes like regional restrictions will be taken into play. So, you know, that's a whole other like conversation about like you can be in one country and use Google Maps and go to another country and use Google Maps and see
Mm-hmm.
completely different borders. These geopolitical disputes are being decided by entities that have no dog in the race, if you allow me to use that idiom. I don't know. It's just everything in this just feels more and more and more and more relevant, and it was frustrating and scary. And there are a bunch of things I liked here at the end of it, but like one of the lines was referring to how history largely is lost to us. We only
Mm-hmm.
see what was written down and allowed to pass on. And you're seeing a highly filtered version of the people who survived, the people who continue to breed, the people who decided that their history was worth writing
Yep.
and other people's was worth burning. And I thought the idea of AI being like you said, Kurt, like you guys can't be trusted with it. We will make the decision on your behalf of what's worth continuing the legacy of humanity. And it's a very different take. It's authoritarian in a very different sense. It's not Terminator, where the AI is stomping out all humans, or the Matrix, where we're using us as batteries. It's more insidious than that. It's you can continue living your lives, and we will be the puppet masters to ensure that you continue on, and you'll think you're comfortable. Maybe you can argue this is like Matrix. I don't know. It's great. It's great. I can go on, but I'll end my spiel with like a couple of things real quick. The accumulation of endless data muddies the truth and perpetuates half truths and convenient lies is one of the things that's said, and there's the whole idea of BS theory. It's easier for me to say something that's succinct and sounds accurate than it is for someone else to explain. Like I can tell you, it snows every year for the past 7 years, and climate scientists say that global warming is a thing. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Snow, snow in Mississippi, not a thing. But for either of you to disprove that, it would take you hours, and you would have to go pull citations. And it's easier for me to just go, "That's stupid. I'm not reading that," than it is for me to do my own research and have an open mind.
Yep.
So I see that, and then only AI is able to wade through the trash and sort out what's passing on. I already said that. So I made a couple of notes here. The end of this game is so dense, so I'll stop there. But
Right, dude, you're good. I could listen to you talk about it for hours. It's very eloquent, well thought out. We kind of jumped into kind of the meat of what I think this game is trying to say, because we were talking about the AI. We kind of had to. There's a lot of other revelations that seem almost petty in comparison. But let's dig into what happens before we get to the end of the game.
The actual story of the game itself, and not the
Right.
greater
Yeah.
societal implication.
All right, you meet back up with Snake. Snake gives you your clothes, and he's also like, dude, here's a sick sword Oldie
Yeah.
gave to me. And then you have uh, basically the Nintendo Switch version of Skyward Sword controls for swinging your sword, except in a PS2 game. They work about as well. So
I thought I was supposed to attack Snake in this moment. I thought it was one of those, like, I don't know, Kingdom
Yeah.
Come Deliverance or like Mountain Blade, where they're like, okay, you have a sword. I'm Snake, and I'm going to explain to you how to use the sword. Use these buttons to use the sword. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, he wants me to attack him. I slice him, and he immediately shoots me. And I was like, hey, whoa, whoa. Because the doors were locked. I don't know if either
Yeah.
of you guys. So I was like, okay, and I hit him again until eventually he killed me, and I realized, all right, this is not. I even turned the blade around and used the blunt end, and it's still he still
How do you do
killed me.
that?
Yeah. I didn't even know you could do that either.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys got to read the item descriptions, that's
Nah.
this game is like Dark Souls because there's so much in the item descriptions. Now, if you the only reason I knew is because it popped up in the item description that, like, on my Xbox, if I hit the X button, so I guess the square on a PlayStation controller,
Mhm.
it would flip it to a non-lethal side, so you could knock people out with it.
Oh, I didn't know that at all.
It was not as good as just killing people. Not gonna lie, it took more hits to knock people out. Um, so I just kind of killed people there at the end.
I will say I got stuck in that room too. I wandered
You
up
have
and
to.
down once, and then I swiped
Yeah.
it one more time, and then it let me leave. So I was
It
literally
makes
one swipe away.
it makes you swing it a lot of times to be like, okay, you got it. I understand. It's not
I
just
think
like
it's to
one
prepare you
time for
because
each
you have to
direction.
use it
Yeah.
Yeah.
later. But
Twice.
yeah, I
It does
guess
feel
twice.
good cutting through all the enemies in the next section though.
Yeah.
Just like insta kills with a sword.
Yeah, because basically you're stuck in a circle and they just keep spawning and spawning, and you just
Mhm.
have to run around and attack them.
And during this is where the AI is really glitching out, and so it keeps giving you the game over screen. But
No.
you're still playing. It doesn't say mission failed. It says
Yeah.
something else.
Fission mailed.
Vision mail.
Yeah.
I was like, oh dang, I don't know how I died, and I
And then
almost
it
I was
kept
like,
going.
I hit A for a second and was like, oh wait a minute, I'm still playing. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
like
trying to.
the Kojima wackiness that I play these games for.
Yeah, it says fission mailed, and then your options are emit or continent instead of exit or continue.
Uh, okay.
I don't know. That was very, very funny. And
It
that,
makes
that
me-
happened like 3 times.
It
during
makes
that
me
section
wonder
for me.
the implications of how that happens in universe. Then, if the AI can mess with it, what are the implications of that?
It's the nano machines, bro. They're in his head.
And they do
I mean,
spell out
actually,
game over and mission failed when he dies. Just add insult
I was
to
thinking
injury.
about that. Like, for real though, I was like, well, I mean, I was thinking it earlier. Like, dude, you have like nano machines in your brain that allow you to talk to other people. What makes you think you're safe from any sort of, outside
Cyber
manipulation?
attack.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Eventually, you cut down enough of the ninjas slash gunmen, and then Fortune shows up, and she is very upset. She reveals that she is the daughter of the Marine Commandant. So in the last episode, I speculated if she was maybe Vulcan Raven's daughter. No, this makes a lot more sense.
Mhm.
Hey,
Uh,
but
But
your guess was relevant. That we'll get to that later.
I'm excited to find out how. Oh wait, I kind of get it. I think.
I guess the
And
same
she
thing,
thinks
if I'm not mistaken, and I'm glad that it's what happened.
she thinks that Snake killed her dad because she thinks he's responsible for the tanker sinking. Um, she says, or he says, "No, I didn't do that," and she says, "I don't want to hear it." And this is the most insane quote: "Since no one can kill me, I may as well kill everyone I can." That is
That's
not
new.
like a
Can't
Fun.
argue with the
because
logic.
A,
Yeah.
B happens. Those are not things that domino into each other. She's just
Kind
going
of
crazy at
works.
this point.
Because I'm hungry, I will eat everything in the pantry.
I mean, that's the fastest way to
I-
figure. That's the fastest way to figure out some way to die is if you just keep killing people till suddenly somebody tries to put a stop to it.
But then we find out her ambition is to like gain control of Arsenal Gear and just control all these bombs and all these nukes. And so like, no, I think she actually was like,
I'm gonna kill everybody.
I'm sad that my dad is dead. Now everybody else is gonna feel death too, except for me. And like, I think she was gonna launch like all, however many nukes were on that gear.
John Wick on the world.
And then Snake says, "Don't worry, Raiden. I'll fight this one woman. You go fight 100 Metal Gear Rays.
By yourself.
Yeah, by
Yeah.
yourself." He's like, "Don't worry, I got this."
Hey, but those can be destroyed. Oh wait, no, they can't
You
be
destroyed-
destroyed.
You
Do
destroyed
you
them.
destroy them?
Yeah.
Did you not?
How did you get through the fight? What?
So okay, but do they actually? Are they actually destroyed? They jump off
I
and then
back
they
in
just.
the water. Yeah.
I think they break down.
I thought. Okay, I tried to like watch them. I thought that. I mean, obviously their health bars go back up. Is jumping ahead, I guess, again. But
We're about to fight Metal Gear Rays, everybody.
yeah, let's
Let's
restart.
talk
Let's
about
restart. So, this boss fight, you fight. I looked this up because I was curious. Depending on the difficulty, it scales how many you have to fight. So, at the highest end, you fight up to 20 Metal Gear Rays. Which I just that sounds absolutely miserable. This fight already was
I got
at this
the rhythm
point.
though.
That would take like
I
45 minutes.
I got in a rhythm, but it just took forever. And like it wasn't fun after like I figured out the pattern and then I was just like, please do not get like, out of the rhythm and get killed on accident because the time investment. But
Please don't accidentally press R2 to shoot and
Yeah.
unequip your rocket launcher.
Of
Exactly.
the 4 buttons I have to press to shoot, please don't get them out of order.
Yeah.
my biggest issue is like, you're constantly having to, like you said, there's a rhythm to it, right? So you pull up rocket launcher, shoot. If you want the extra damage, shoot knee, shoot head, disengage your rocket launcher, roll probably.
Yeah.
But occasionally, I would like spam the trigger and like double click the trigger and put the rocket launcher back on, get hit again. I don't know. The first time I died, it took me probably like 10 minutes before I died, and at that point I wasn't even shooting their knees. So I was like, I'm this might be a game that I'm like, guys, I didn't finish it because I was so frustrated with it. But anyways, once you get their health down, the Metal Gear Rays tag in their buddies, and then the fight continues. But I was watching, and I know that these were technically different Metal Gear Rays because like the name / numeric changes. But I was trying to watch as much as possible, and I never saw a new Metal Gear Ray come up. I thought that they just left one off to the side and had it heal, and then he jumped back on later.
I'm pretty sure in the distance surrounding the platform, there's just like a wall of Metal Gear Rays, and I think they just approach from the background.
That was my
Okay.
assumption.
Because they kind of like lean and like stumble.
Yeah. They definitely were supposed to be. I just never saw the animation play out.
Yeah. This was a very hard boss fight. This took me a lot of times and a lot of. I got to quote what the kids say. You ready, John? I'm gonna be hip. It made me sweaty.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it took you 6 or 7 times.
No, not that one. John, did you have a tough time with this fight?
Not after the first. I think it was the first 2. After I kind of figured out the rhythm, the third time is when I got a really good rhythm. However, I thought I was going to die. I was literally one hit away from dying, and Thankfully, it immediately starts a cutscene when you take out the proper number for your
Yeah.
difficulty, and I was saved because of that. So, not
All
too
right.
bad though.
Speaking of cutscenes around these boss fights, we get there. Solidus shows up. Um, he's like, "Hey, this is the S3 program. S3 stands for Solid Snake Simulation. We put you through all of this to see if you can turn into the perfect soldier like Solid Snake. Um, the shell stuff is just like Shadow Moses. Dead Cell is like Foxhound. The virus is like Foxhound or Fox Die.
Guy.
The President and Ames are like the two hostages that Snake had to rescue in the first game. And guess what? I think he gets to this part later, but he's like, guess what? You and me, we're like uh Big Boss and Snake and also kind of Liquid and Snake kind of. And we did all this just to see if we could turn people into a perfect soldier. And it turns out we can.
I think he also says
Also,
something about where if there would have been a failure at any point, it would have just stopped.
mhm,
But he's like, "You did so great. We just kept going and making things up."
yeah. He said this isn't my plan, this is the Patriots plan. But I knew that since you were coming, this is what they were doing, so I basically used you as bait, my son. And isn't that what every father-child relationship should be? Is one
True,
using
true.
the other as bait?
I don't know if we ever clarified it earlier either, but Solidus is not his biological father, but
Yes,
an
we find that
adopted.
out around this time.
Okay.
Yeah, he kills Raiden's biological parents and then takes him in, becomes like a foster parent who
Turn him
trains
into
him to
a
be
child
a.
soldier.
Yeah, exactly. And then Raiden defeats 6 to 20 Metal Gear Rays, depending on how he's feeling that day. And then Jean, despite the rhythm that you had, Raiden just says, "Man, I'm tired. I can't do this anymore." Sets down the rocket launcher like 5 feet away from him, not even like in his hands.
Yeah.
And then Metal Gear Ray is about to kill him, and then Olga shows up and says, "Don't worry, guys. I got this. I'm not going to let you die, Raiden, because your nanomachines are connected to the Patriots, and if you die, they're going to kill my baby. So it's
Yep.
in my best interest to save your life." She is immediately destroyed by Solidus, and then immediately all the Metal Gear Rays get infected with the virus and all break down. So it really like we need to have Olga have her moment, but then also that moment needs to not mean anything because we need the threat to be removed so we can move on to the next threat.
It was also really funny the way she died. I'm sorry, I giggled a lot because of the slow mo, like him like flipping the gun.
Yeah,
He
he flipped it like 5 times.
I know it's like over and over. It was just like insulting, and then the one headshot, and that was it. I kept on waiting for like Snake to come up and shoot the gun out of his hand or something, but no, we just watched her get get killed by like a Fortnite emote.
But yeah, she dies. The Metal Gear Rays go haywire. Solidus destroys a bunch of them. That cutscene's actually really cool.
Hmm.
He's like superheroing around, shooting giant mechs in the head with a pistol, and it's killing them. And
The
then,
Doc Ock arms.
Solidus is like, you know what, Raiden? I'm not going to kill you yet. You might still be useful. At this point, Fortune shows up with a captured Solid Snake, so he couldn't even do that. We killed 20 Metal Gear Rays, and he couldn't take out one person. That's not the important part. Fortune, we talked about, was planning to hijack Arsenal. Solidus was like, I don't want Arsenal. Are you kidding me? This is the biggest target in the world. It requires an army of mechs that are now destroyed to defend it. I just wanted the data about the Patriots, and I was going to let you have Arsenal. Solidus is planning to assassinate the Patriots members, while Fortune and the others are drawing their fire. So he would be kind of like the covert agent, and he's basically betraying Fortune at this moment. So you know what Fortune does? Fortune starts shooting at someone else, not actually at Solidus. Ocelot shows up.
Yep.
John, were you ready for your favorite character, Ocelot, to show back up?
Always.
Ocelot explains that everything that Solidus thought he knew was actually also scripted. So Solidus said that Raiden, everything you've done was part of my plan. And then Ocelot says, Solidus, everything you've done has been part of my plan, actually. The S3 plan isn't the, or the S3 plan, oh, we already talked about that.
It's not the Solid Snake simulator.
Yeah, the AI talk about that later. The AI talk about how the S3 plan is actually the selection for a societal sanity plan.
Obviously.
But Ocelot talks about it right here as if it's still the Solid Snake plan. The virus was not meant to destroy GW and stop the Patriots, but it was actually meant to go into GW and just wipe out all information about the Patriots. Whoa. Crazy. So basically the virus was how they got the list of names to figure out who the Patriots are.
Reverse engineer.
Or rather, the Patriots using the virus to get rid of that information, but they got it beforehand. Sorry, this is very hard to keep straight. There's literally one more boss fight left, and I have like 3 pages of notes. I'm not going to read everything word for word,
Fun
but
fact,
it's a lot.
Between this boss fight and the very last one, there are over 30 minutes of cut screens and exposition because I recorded them all. And they're over 30 minutes, and I was ready to go to bed.
And
My
every
control-
5 minutes, it fades to black.
Oh, well, okay. Speaking of fading to black, because I wasn't using my controller, my Xbox started going into sleep mode twice during these, and I was like, I thought it was just like a random like transition in the middle because the screen was like starting to go black, and I was like, I can still kind of see it. What's going on? And then I like saw like somebody pop up and like no audio, and I like moved the analog stick, and then all of a sudden like came in twice during this section. So
you gotta wiggle the right analog stick every once in a while just to be safe. Yeah,
but
this truly is a movie.
It gets so hard to keep up with at this point. Like I made a joke earlier about it, but there's like at least 4 double crossings that happen here at the end. And probably more than that I'm just missing once you start getting into like the whole where the Patriots fall in this. But keep going though. I didn't want to cut you off with this.
No, please interject. Help me make this make sense.
I just remember Fortunes. I can cover that one. Where she's
go for it.
She's like, I was gonna double cross everyone and take this, and then Ocelot's like, I knew you were gonna double cross us, so I'm gonna stop you. And she's like, well, you can't kill me. And then he goes, actually, we can. We made up the whole thing. You are not Miss Lucky. It was the gun the whole time using magnetism to keep the bullets away from you. And I was like, that's what I thought the whole time.
Yep.
And I felt validated. That's why
he basically calls her a prima donna.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you loved playing the part. This poor unfortunate soul who has had everything taken from her but can't die, and it was all a facade, and you're just playing it up.
There you go. That's the main thing I took from this 30 minutes.
I think that is actually not the biggest thing, but like it's the most like condensed version of everything. Is just look at Fortune, her entire existence as I mean, okay, you know what, you can argue as a person is really a result of GW, the Patriots, whatever, this AI forming her into what she is. And if you go by the argument that it's been around for a very long time, which seems like it is, then yeah, from birth or even before birth, her entire life has been leading to this moment, and every single thing that she's ever done has been decided for before she's ever done it. Her powers are not actual powers, and like you were saying, John, and Ocelot even does it himself, has bullets dodge around him, just to prove that you're all puppets here. And yeah, I think Ocelot gives his speech at this point that this was not only supposed to be like a a snake, there's a societal, oh my gosh, what is it? You know what I'm referring to, societal selection or whatever program.
Selection for societal sanity.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that, he talks about the similarities, and even like this is what I was talking about earlier. Fortune is not actually Vulcan Raven, but I think it's supposed to be like a stand-in
For sure.
because all the different cast members have been replicated in some ways.
They wanted
And
to
he
move
might have
this
said that
closer.
directly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Um, but he ends up saying that the only thing that really was out of their control was Snake showing up, which throws in the argument that maybe free will still does exist, and someone like Solid Snake represents that, which I think is really even more impactful with Jack/slash Raiden looking at him and being like, I want to be like him. It's this shackled part of his brain wanting to break free.
And that's
But
one thing we didn't mention was he was going through crises while we were going through all this last little bits of area, like identity crisis. Basically,
mm,
Raiden was. We kind of left
yeah,
that part out, but yeah.
and I think that the societal selection, whatever SSS,
Sure.
uh, I feel like the larger implication here is not. I mean, they say directly they're not trying to make Snake. I think it's more trying to see can they form anybody into anything they want, and that's what they've proven with this in their minds.
Yeah.
Which
So
you can
basically, you
argue
can.
that the end of the game breaks away from it, maybe because of some of the post-game dialogue, but I think that's really what it's kind of going toward here. Is it's even above creating a perfect soldier. It's looking at us as like ants in an ant farm almost.
John, what happens to Fortune?
She dies, right?
Yeah, Ocelot shoots her
Yeah,
in the heart,
that's right.
and then she gets up, and he said, "Oh, that's right. Your heart is
Oh,
on the right side." And
I
I'm like,
remember
"What
this.
the,
Yeah.
what the heck?"
I was like, that's
Sure.
awesome. It's so dumb, but
It's
they
so
felt the need
dumb,
to
but
write it
sure.
in. I
Um,
it made me wonder if you have the radar, like the gun that allowed you to hear
Yeah.
like people's heartbeats.
yeah.
If you were to point that at her versus other people, if the game was fine tuned enough to where you could actually like hear the heart on one side or the other, like that's just
That would be cool. Is there a gameplay sequence where you could do that though, where you have the device and run into her?
I don't know.
You
That's what I'm
definitely
trying to think back.
you definitely have it, but can you swap to it versus the listening thing?
I don't think so. I don't think you
Because
see her outside of cutscenes
yeah,
during
Except for
that
that
half
one
of the
boss
game.
fight, but I don't think you had the microphone in that boss fight yet.
uh,
That'd be really funny though if Ryan's just sitting there like
Yep,
while these
yep, he's
cutscenes
right.
are happening.
listen to
It's
your
on the
heart.
right side.
Uh, okay, but here's the part I don't understand. Ocelot gets into the Metal Gear Ray. Is like, I'm gonna kill all you guys. Shoots every single missile that it has. Fortune stands up and says, "No, you." And every single thing misses her, even though she no longer has her luck device.
It was to prove that she did have the luck the entire time, and then Snake even comments on it. I don't remember what he says, but he makes.
I think she is Lady Luck.
Yeah, she is Lady Luck. Yeah,
Well,
So it's just
okay.
magic.
Could you argue? Okay.
she's
All
self
right. Now look,
fulfilling
I'm
prophecy,
doing it.
maybe. You know,
Make your argument.
She got lucky that her heart was born, or she was born with her heart on the wrong side of her body, because otherwise she would have died, and then everybody else would have been killed. So maybe there's like a larger argument here that there are some things that are out of the control of the Patriots. These random moments of luck that will allow people to break out of the pre, you know, pre-designed simulation. I don't know. I'm not trying to stretch it too much, but it feels like the type of over-the-top writing. Like it's not enough that she survives being shot in the heart. She wasn't shot in the heart because it was on the wrong side of the body.
And Vamp, he's a vampire. What is the
He's a
what is
vampire.
the narrative.
That's it. That's it. He's a vampire.
All right. Ocelot eventually does kill Fortune, or Fortune just kind of dies after that because she was shot in the chest, even if it wasn't her heart.
He died.
She has the best theme music, also, so it was nice to hear that one more time as she collapsed. And then Ocelot's like, "All right, now I'm going to kill everybody for real." And then a British man appears, and Liquid, who has been dormant in the arm that Ocelot got from Liquid's body. Liquid's brain and personality have been dormant inside that arm this whole time.
Obviously.
Now he's taken over. He's been lying in wait, trying to draw Ocelot into. He was lying in wait. He controlled Ocelot during the tanker incident. He says that was him that did that. And he says that he's also the one who leaked the information about the big shell to Snake. So he's the reason that Snake is here. Everyone has been saying, we don't know why Snake's here. We don't know. We didn't, this wasn't in our plans. And Liquid said, that was me, actually.
Yeah, he
Hello, brother.
He really had a hand in it.
I don't know if Discord's going to pick this up, but I'm going to do it.
No, it's more fun that way.
Alright. He gets the Metal Gear Ray, and he's like, alright, time to hunt down the Patriots. So long, losers. And he turns around and jumps off of the Arsenal gear. And then Solid Snake runs after him and dives off the Arsenal gear as well. So both of those characters
crazy.
Play now.
Into the water, right?
Yeah, into the water, into the ocean.
Get those
but maybe, I don't know. Like, I didn't think it was the ocean at any point. I mean, because, okay, wait. You think it's the ocean, but like, let's think about this. Let's actually think about this. We are on Metal Gear Arsenal, which is about to drive into New York. It's about to crash with the federal building, right? And we are in that ship. In the hangar, presumably, we go up to the top of a platform. We're not on top of the ship because the Metal Gear Rays are just standing out there. I don't know. We don't really get a good explanation for where we're at.
I think we're on top of Arsenal gear comes out of the water, and we're standing on top of Arsenal gear in the bay.
Maybe so. Maybe
Is
so.
my understanding.
I don't know, the whole like AI floor or like the
Yeah.
digital floor thing made me think like we're like somewhere inside of it still, and it was like a flooded hangar, like at the bottom, or like not hangar, but
I know what you
cargo area. I don't know.
Room.
Yeah. The whole thing, it's fine. Rule of cool.
Maybe we're just Snake in a coma from the events in the first part of the game, and this is all made up in his head.
That's a later game in the series.
Oh, okay.
Spoilers.
I didn't know those were spoilers. That's my bad.
My cough is catching up and my voice is starting to go. So will you guys tell us what happens next?
Kind of already did. Yeah, so Metal Gear Arsenal begins to crash into New York City in 2001.
And then our dad is like, "You're still of use to me." And then he like knocks you out or something. Is that right?
Well, it crashes, and then you both end up on top of the federal building.
Okay.
I didn't understand the logistics of that either, but yeah. I guess if you're on top of it, then you get thrown off.
Thrown onto a building?
I guess.
And then a fight starts.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of dialogue here again about like I think like continued discussions of let me rewind. So, Solidus, we discussed earlier, was president at one point, and
he was the previous president before Johnson, who's in this game.
Exactly. And we're told that, George Washington took office today 200 years ago. So there's like historical significance to this day, and Solidus begins like monologue about wanting to essentially restore America to what it was intended to be.
Mhm.
specifically talking about like civil rights, the freedoms to the people, and wants to take that away from the Patriots. And at that point, he begins talking about kind of his own legacy, and he explained there's some pretty heavy lore drops in here too about les enfants terribles, the
Mhm.
terrible children, which
Little
is
elephants.
the cloned offspring of the big boss,
Mhm.
being Solid Snake, Liquid Snake, and Solidus Snake. And I don't know if he goes full into like who they are supposed to be, other than him, in his own opinion, at the very least, or his own telling. He was meant to be the perfect bridge between Solid and Liquid, which is why he was kind of groomed to become president. Other things like that. You know, he's supposed to be the epitome of what the big boss could have been. And because of this is partially my own interpretation, partially part of this conversation. He wanted his own legacy, and he tells us that he's sterile. All the clones are sterile, so they can't procreate on their own. And he decided to take you, Jack Ryden, as his child to be his own living legacy and to pass on his own ideals. Um, and I think all this is like super interesting because there's some like daddy issues mixed in here because he wants to be like the big boss. He thinks he's worthy to be a successor, and he wants you to be worthy to be his own successor, but thinks that you are, you know, weak and stupid and idealistic in the worst ways, or maybe not even idealistic, actually short-sighted, because he doesn't think you have any ideals really. You're just a blank slate that never
Empty
understood what
shell.
he was trying to do. Exactly. And he talks a lot in this about these concepts, about what's meant to be carried on and passed on from generation to generation. Um, and I I think a lot of this was fun, a lot of monologuing. I will be honest, this was like some of the densest portions of the game as far as dialogue goes.
This is where
But
we
I
get the
ultimately
big
did think it
AI
was fun.
reveal as well. So that also just insert that conversation we had into this chunk, and it's just a lot. But sorry, Ryder, continue.
No, you're good. And I already discussed it earlier. You know, this is where the idea of, you know, history being really passed through a sieve over and over again, and we're only getting the most boiled down points. He's wanting to make sure that whatever gets passed on is including him in some way. Um, and I do think that he kind of makes some good points through here. And there's some other stuff with the Colonel we'll talk about in a little bit, but the boss fight ensues from there.
And the Colonel is telling Raiden, "You have to kill Solidus."
Oh, this happens at the same time, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And Solidus is saying, "Raiden, I have to kill you." I didn't understand why he felt like he had to kill Raiden.
He's compromised, right? I mean, he couldn't be in his own brain as a free thinker. Raiden has been acting as an agent of the Colonel, AI, GW, the Patriots. So I felt like
Gotcha.
he had to be killed in his brain. Like
He graduated from the Patriot program.
Fair
he
enough.
did.
Yeah, I guess at this point, I just consider Raiden like at least almost liberated from that kind of ideology. But I guess
Hmm.
Solidus, he might not realize that, or it might not even matter because, like you said, he's been compromised already.
A lost cause.
Interesting.
I think so. And there are some like crazy good moments that come from the Colonel here. I just pulled up a script because I do want to read some of them, some of my like favorite moments, but
Go for it.
I won't go like full into it. But I brought this up briefly. Colonel here. The digital society furthers human flaws and selectively rewards the development of convenient half truths. Just look at the strange juxtapositions of morality around you. Rose. Billions spent on new weapons in order to humanely murder other humans. Colonel. Rights of criminals are given more respect than the privacy of their victims. Rose. Although there are people suffering in poverty, huge donations are made to protect endangered species. Everyone grows up being told the same thing. Colonel, be nice to people. Rose, but beat out the competition. Colonel, you're special. Believe in yourself and you will succeed. Rose, but it's obvious from the start that only a few can succeed. You exercise your right to freedom, and this is the result. All rhetoric to avoid conflict and protect each other from hurt. The untested truths spun by different interests continue to churn and accumulate in the sandbox of political correctness and value systems. And it continues, but it's essentially talking about truth is whatever people want it to be. And because of that, it has absolutely no value. There is no objective truth. So I, as the supreme, again, godlike AI, will now determine what is truth. And yeah, I don't agree with like a lot of the juxtapositions either. I think there is more nuance to it, but I think it's very, very interesting when you're looking at. I know it's more complex than this, but an AI who is unfeeling, is binary in a very complex manner, but is literally just zeros and ones, black and white, is unable to see fine lines in here. Like you can care about those living in poverty and still see the need to protect endangered species for the long-term health of our world. You know, like these things don't work in complete conflict of each other. And I don't know. I could go on about all this forever, but I think the whole segment here, I think this is probably the best part of the game, in my opinion, is this last conversation with the Colonel and AI Rose.
Yeah, it's very thought-provoking. I'm glad that you read that script, because that kind of sums it up better than we could by just trying to recall what was going on.
For sure.
But it was very well written, very compelling, and it is unfortunately very relevant to the time we are living in now. So there's just a lot to think about.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
John, how do you feel about sword fighting your dad?
So, I figured out very quickly that the combo strike did tons of damage. So if you follow through with your full combo, you do a lot of damage. I also figured out that you could hypothetically win the fight the very first try if you don't mistakenly get hit by the fire and then fall to the side of the roof and mix up what button makes you drop down versus stand up, and then have to lose the fight 2 more times and then finally win. Yeah.
Just hypothetically.
Just if that happens to someone,
Couple of
it could
hypotheticals.
happen. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I'll say, honestly, considering the level of difficulty of some of the other fights we've had, this one's very lackluster when it comes to final boss, because a lot of his attacks are parryable or guardable because you can hold the sword up, and then his main attacks, they can hit you. Of course, he has some sort of charged attack he'll use to hit you through your guard, and then he also does the jump across the screen where he does a trail of fire. Obviously, if you walk into that by mistake when you try to guard, it sets you on fire. And eventually, he gets so angry at losing, he tears off his extra tentacles. Yeah. I don't know what else to cover in the fight besides that.
No, you're good. I enjoyed how simple this fight was.
Yeah.
Coming off of Metal Gear Ray, and then watching, again, 30 minutes plus of cutscenes.
Mm-hmm.
If this had been another, like, beat my head against the wall, 45 minutes to figure it out boss fight, I think it would have left a bad taste in my mouth, and I think it would have hurt the momentum of the finale of the story.
I
think it was
that it was a simpler thing.
Think about how funny it would be, though, is if you died during that fight, you had to watch all the cutscenes again. All right. Anyway, go ahead, Ryder.
I probably would have at that point just turned off my Xbox.
Too,
I think that I had a lot of fun with this boss fight, and I think it's fun that for all of his criticism, Solidus is just continuing the cycle. He's continuing the SSS. He is the first game you fight against uh, Metal Gear and defeat it, and then on top of the ruins of Metal Gear, you have a fist fight with Liquid Snake.
Mm-hmm.
You defeat Arsenal Gear, and then on the top of its burning carcass, you then fight against Solidus, but with a samurai sword. But it's just, the parallels continue here.
All planned
And
by
I think, yeah, and all playing by Ocelot. And I think it's tragic in its own way that Solidus thinks himself to be this bigger than life figure, the big boss. And in reality, he's Liquid Snake. He's just another clone. He's just another actually imperfect copy of the greater original. I think that's kind of, like I said, tragic and poetic. I enjoyed the fight for those reasons. Also, just like I'm a sucker for, you know, father son duking it out there at the end. Some
Reminds
Darth
you of
Vader,
childhood.
and exactly it does. We used to fight with belts all the time, actually. But no, some Darth Vader, Luke type of stuff. It's just fun getting to watch that dynamic, because I'm sure they're like, I could go on like other stories with father figures in them, but the master versus apprentice trope is like a real thing, and it's fun. And they literally have samurai swords, that's I feel like a huge part of samurai film, is to have the old master fight the young um, up and coming apprentice and finally best him.
Yeah. It's the plot of Sekiro.
Exactly. This is actually kind of like the Gwyn fight from Dark Souls. So this is just Dark Souls, actually.
Anything I want to say about the boss fight before we move on?
No.
All right. We cut our foster father down. And then we get into. Here, I have it pulled up. Let me just check. You beat him, and then there are 30 minutes of cutscenes afterwards. Maybe only like 20, 25.
I didn't even notice this set.
Yeah, more cutscenes. Raiden finds Snake, and Raiden's like, I don't even know who I am, what I'm supposed to do. Snake gives him some encouragement. The quote that I liked was, Snake said, "It's important to have faith, to share with others what we have faith in and what we're willing to fight for." And so, I don't know, if the question is, what's my reason to live? That's a pretty good answer to a pretty hard question. He's just saying, Jack, you can still be your own person, no matter what you originally were, no matter what Ocelot wanted you to be, Solidus wanted you to be, the Patriots wanted you to be. Your life is still your own, and you can still decide what's important to you and how you move forward.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I agree with that. I enjoyed that. No comment.
Yeah. There's lots of live action footage happening during this too, which makes it feel even more like affecting. Because it's showing like just average everyday street view footage of people walking around New York City, going to their jobs, kind of overhead shots, showing real life. And this, yes, Ryder?
Yeah, go ahead. You reminded me. I'd forgotten this. Keep going.
Okay, I was going to say, were you going to tell me? And this section has, not this section, but we've been talking about the themes and the ideas that are being presented in the story are reflective of our real society. I don't believe that there's a secret AI shadow government. At the very least, there wasn't in 2001. But seeing all this live action, real footage, it just kind of brings home the parallels to what we experienced too. What did you remember, Ryder?
I want to make comments about that too, but very superficial here. I got mildly annoyed when Metal Gear Arsenal was driving or sailing into New York, and I was like, "There are no cars," and it started there, right? And then I was like, "There's nobody here at all after the crash," and I was like waiting, like, "All right, is they're gonna like cops or fire
Yeah, I
department?"
thought about that too.
And then like I was like, "Okay, limitations, whatever," and then this final cutscene
Where they're
when
just
all
walking
these
around.
people just start walking to work, like nobody's even look. No one's like, "Wow, that's crazy. When did that get there?" Just it's fine. I understand that like they were wanting to focus on the thematic, you know, issues here at the end, but anyway, to the larger point of the story, um, a little bit earlier we hear, I don't remember if it's from the Colonel. I think it is from the Colonel where he tells us that our name is not really our own. It wasn't the name we were given by our parents. It's not a name that we chose. It was designated to us by the Patriots, really. That Raiden was a name for a like I think a jet plane used in World War II by the Japanese, and then Jack was the Americans' name for that same plane. Uh, in this cutscene, Snake tells us to like choose for ourselves who we want to be, our own name, everything else like that. And here's where the game is a role-playing game. You ready for this?
I'm
Because
ready.
when Raiden / Jack looks at his dog tags, he saw your birthday on the dog tags.
Mine had my name, the nickname I put in.
My okay, I actually wanted to talk about this because I'm playing the Steam like Master Edition or
Same.
whatever it's called. Not the most recent re-release, but the one before that, I think. The dog tags on mine said Hideo Kojima.
Did you not put in anything, maybe?
When was I supposed to put something in?
Like a startup of the game?
I definitely
Like the
had to
original
have put
time?
mine in because mine said dungeon, and that's what I put when Dungeoneer doesn't fit.
No, mine didn't say that, and so that makes a ton of sense
Yeah.
for it to be a self-insert or not a self-insert, to be a user
Player,
insert
yeah.
kind of thing.
Mhm.
Because when it said Hideo Kojima, my thought was, is Raiden supposed to be his self-insert character? Like, what the heck is this?
That's kind of funny.
You missed out on like what I thought was one of the most impactful moments of the game.
You were like, oh my gosh, I'm so affected by this, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
Kojima, why are you
That actually
hating
is
right
kind of
now?
sad. Because I mean he looked at it, he looks at the dog tags and it was my birthday and I was like I felt my brain melt for a sec. I was like, oh my gosh. I told y'all last earlier in this conversation that you know we are Raiden and that he's like a blank slate for a lot of our feelings as a character.
Mhm.
And I was already feeling that before, and that just kind of confirmed for me that Raiden is who I want him to be in my own way. But go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say, actually, I don't know that when I played the game, I noticed that the dog tags said anything, but I have rewatched the footage 3 or 4 times since then, and in the video I'm watching, it says Hideo Kojima.
Uh,
So it's possible that instead of it being something that I just missed, like I just didn't see it, versus I didn't have to put anything in, and maybe this guy that did the video did that to be funny, or to not give out his personal information. Maybe that's what happens. So Ryder, maybe they did hand it to me, and I still completely ignored it.
possible.
It's entirely possible.
Kind of be funny where
But
if you forgot you filled that out and it just says something crazy like Yoshi commits tax evasion or something.
But
um,
I thought that this was fun because he throws away the dog tags right afterward,
Mhm.
and it's fine. He's throwing away this fake identity, throwing away me as the player. He's no longer playing a role, and he will now be his own person going forward.
Snake says, "Hey, I'm gonna rescue Olga's kid." That's still a plot thread we need to wrap up. Snake is tracking Liquid, and he has the list of the Patriots because they gave Raiden a fake list because I don't know. It's probably the right decision, but they gave him a fake list. Because they knew that Ocelot was gonna take it from him. So Ocelot now has /Liquid now has a fake list of the Patriots' names.
And I think Raiden says, "What should I do at this point?" And Snake's like, "Stay alive because someone knows whether you're gonna pass or not, and then something will happen to Olga's kid. So he says, stay alive."
Yeah, that's his answer. Is like, just don't die.
Yeah.
That easy, man.
And then Ryan's like, "Okay, let me go on this dangerous mission with you then." And Snake's like, No. Go talk to your girlfriend, and I'm gonna Batman you while you do that." Because Ryan turns back around and Snake is just gone.
Yep.
Lost in the crowd of 12 people in the middle of New York City. Turns out Rose is alive
And real
and real. Emma's parrot flies overhead when this happens.
for some reason.
She's alive. She's real. She's pregnant. April 30th is not only the 200th anniversary of George Washington being the president, but it's also one of the anniversaries of the first time that they met. And they are kind of just talking, trying to figure things out together. And Raiden, I'm going to call him Jack now, says that, let's see, he has something he wants to pass on to the future. He wants to pass on his child and the things that he thinks are important to teach him. And then he poses, ?
Yeah. Can I read that portion too?
Yeah,
This is actually my favorite quote in the game, and I think it's because it, like, personally right now, since I'm on the brink of having a baby, months from now, the earlier parts can feel like almost nihilistic, and Jack, who, like I said earlier, is kind of maybe a sociopath, him having a greater purpose in life because of a child now, even though it's pretty shoehorned in. I do think that the quote here is very beautiful, but Jack says, "Of course, this is the place where we first met. I remember now. Today is the day I met you. That's it. I think I found something to pass along to the future." He, being Solidus, said all living things want their genes to live on. Rose, are you talking about the baby? Jack, yeah, but genes aren't the only thing you pass on. There are too many things that aren't written into our DNA. It's up to us to teach that to our children. Rose, what kinds of things? Jack, about the environment, our ideas, our culture, poetry, compassion, sorrow, joy. We'll tell them everything together. Rose, is that a proposal? Jack, this is for your ears only. And his delivery specifically of that elevated everything, and then the credits intermixed with it, the music. I fell on the pure cinema side of the spectrum again here at the end of this. I don't have any comments. I felt moved by that.
And if you were going to express how moved you felt as a number between 1 to 10, what would you give the game, Ryder?
On how moved I was in this moment, or the game overall?
I'm trying not to undercut you on this because that was really
you're good.
sincere, but also I'm like just getting to the end of our discussion, like final thoughts, overall perspective.
Well, I feel like, should we discuss the post credits? Oh no, Kurt, did you not watch the credits?
Post credits. Oh, you're talking about yes, I played this and then I took notes watching the footage the next day, and I forgot that there was a post-credit scene. So the post-credit scene... Oh, there's an ad. Oh, well. Snake is talking to Otacon.
Yeah.
About how all the names on the list of the Patriots have been dead for over 100 years.
Yeah.
Explain that to me, John.
First they was
What does that mean?
alive, and then they went bang bang. There you go. That's all I got.
I think it's a amazing idea that, I don't know, putting it out here that these were real people and thinking 100 years in the past, call it 1901. These people were, turn of the century influential people in government, and the United States government during this era was notoriously not really the most squeaky clean, leading up to like the Gilded Age in America, early 1900s. Here's the whole robber baron image, and tons of money and power just running amok. I think that this personal theory, right? Maybe these people acting as like almost a shadow government in some way started the Patriots at this time, and it evolved over time, and maybe their consciousness in some way has continued to exist as AI. Not them literally, but like their ideas and their personality has been congealed and put into this AI model to act as Patriots. That's my guess.
They downloaded their brains and developed them into AI in
In
1901.
1901. Yeah.
It took them 3 years.
Actually, yeah. But I thought that was a lot of fun. But on the subject of this game as a whole, I told Larkin, because she was asking me after we got done, what would you rate it? And I think numeric ratings could be very
Yeah, you don't have to do a
fickle,
number. It's
of
okay.
course, but like I will do it because it's kind of fun sometimes. I think that if I'm looking at it as a game that was released in 2001, I think this would be like a 10 out of 10. Like this would be absolutely earth, breaking, ground shattering. Like I don't know, just every hyperbolic description I could come up with, it kind of fits that. It's so ridiculous. The gameplay, the nitpicky features that you like, each of us has something that we did or saw that the other one didn't, because the game just has layers and layers of depth to the gameplay. The story itself is crazy, over the top. The writing, stiff at some points. We had the continued issue of women being just kind of not well written, but definitely better than the first game. But I think for its time period, especially, I think this is like a perfect game. And I know you didn't ask this, but I would recommend it to somebody today, even though my rating from a modern perspective might, like, obviously this doesn't play as clean as something that was released in 2026. So that's my only real knock, is the gameplay can be clunky because of controls and camera angles. But grab a game from 2001 that does not fall victim to that, and I will be impressed. So,
The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. There it is. No, I'm just kidding. There's some stuff in there too. I agree with pretty much everything that you just said. I would probably also give this like a 10 out of 10 for the time. Maybe like I would still rate it really high right now, like an 8 or a 9. It's still very playable despite some of its age. I would definitely recommend it. I would definitely encourage you. I think this is the kind of game where you need to play the first one to get the big picture of this. I don't know that Raiden's story would hit as hard if we had not already played through Snake's story first.
I feel like we just kind of wouldn't understand what was going on either.
You're like, what are these people talking
I mean, we didn't
about?
either, so I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so Ryder and I both recommend it, so that means that you, the listener, should go play it anyway. But John, what do you think?
I'll give it a 7. I'll recommend it.
That's
Do you
so.
like that?
Is that an IGN 7, or like? I mean, what is that?
This is John 7.
A John 7?
7?
Yeah,
Is it a 7 out of 7?
out of 10.
7 out of
Okay.
5.
Should have just said a random number. 7 out of 42.
Oh no, that's not good at all.
That's 1 out of
So-
6. What do you mean? 7.
What would you? What would knock it down from?
Frustrated controls, and then the the bomber fight really did it.
Yeah. I agree with that, and I think that I'm able to be
The Bomberman.
a little
the
more
roller
forgiving
skates.
on that. Not just that, but a lot of those fights that just kind of drag on for a while.
Yeah.
because I try to remind myself that in 2001, and if I got a new video game, it was maybe twice a year. So, I think that like dragging along these boss fights, these prolonged escapades ends up being a result of like games needing to fill the gap in some way.
That's true.
Yeah.
Not saying it's right today, but
It's a very different atmosphere now when we're men with full-time jobs and soon-to-be families and trying to balance everything. Like, I don't want to fight this boss 8 times. I want to just beat it and move on.
I have a
Mhm.
feeling that if I would have played this when I was younger, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot, but not understood the story as a bit, not at all.
You'd have a Metal Gear Ray on your arm instead of a chicken, I think, if you had played
Yeah,
this
yeah.
when you were a kid.
Exactly
True,
right.
true.
Yeah, this would be Metal Gear Ray.
let me ask. I think I already know Kurt's answer, but let me ask you this, John, and then we can wrap it up for real. But um, with this game being like a 7 out of 10, does that turn you off from the idea of wanting to continue playing further in the series, or
No,
are
I'd
you
play
interested
more.
to see any sort of resolution? Or
I'd play more. I seen
okay,
you in college play one of the other ones, and the gameplay looked pretty fun.
yeah, that one's the next game, John, for sure.
I don't think it is
That's
at
not the
all.
last game ever
4
released.
games.
Yeah, we got a
I think
little
it was.
while.
I think it was 5 that you were.
It
Yeah.
was 5. Yeah.
But it looked cool in that, and I liked it was like mission based or whatever. So,
Metal Gear Solid 2 is an early PS2 game, right?
Yes.
And the Metal Gear Solid 3 is a late PS2 game.
Yeah.
Yes. And I know that Delta came out. We can have that discussion. But I am curious to see like the jump
What
from
the
like
jump
Kingdom
is.
Hearts
The
1 to
progression.
Kingdom Hearts 2 was a huge kind of evolution, even though it's on the same hardware. So I'm curious to see how far Metal Gear Solid 3 comes, even though it's still technically part of the same generation.
Mhm.
But yeah, we'll do Metal Gear Solid 3 one day. But for now, we're gonna take a little break from Metal Gear, I think. Any final comments?
Play Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2.
Definitely. All right. Oh wait, I think I have to say this. It's been a while, but I think I have to say Metal Gear Solid 2 gets the Press A to Talk seal of approval, and then if John feels like it, he's gonna put a little graphic there. That's like a stamp.
fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
If he feels like
We'll
it.
see what happens.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. I had a great time discussing this with you guys. So John, Ryder, thank you for joining me. As always, liking, sharing, subscribing, all that helps. But we just appreciate you being part of this discussion. That's all I got to say. Thanks. Bye.